is hype, man.
Woo!
I guess we hit the goal. You guys know Steel Toe? You guys know Aaron Imholte from Steel Toe, the morning program, the afternoon and evening drive time radio hit bonanza, the world's only local podcast. You guys familiar with that? You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I know Wheelchair Johnny.
Wheelchair Johnny. They got a cast of characters over there. They've got Aaron. They've got the Tarantula. They've got Ape. Oh. They've got Wheelchair Johnny. They've got Matt. They've got a sign. Ladies and gentlemen, they've got a sign. I've seen the sign. I feel like Ace of Base because I assume Steel Toe hit their goal. Because the whole time I've been saying, well, what do you mean you got a goal? You have to hit a goal. We got to get that goal. Who's this we? Why am I a part of this? I have no business being part of your fucking goal? You just decided a random goal. What is the goal? Like, I understand that the goal is $350 or whatever made up number you just decided on arbitrarily before the program. But what I'm asking is, usually when a guy's got a goal, it means he has something in mind for that money. Turns out Aaron wasn't lying. He had something in mind for the money. He's made a brand new set. Okay? And if you've been watching Steel Toe long enough, you know they had the world's worst podcasting studio, the absolute ugliest thing you've ever seen. And some improvements have been made. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you what your goal money did.
I worked so hard, and I had help. I don't think my help wants to be mentioned, but I had help, and I appreciate my help. I revamped the lighting. I revamped the camera. I revamped the sign.
Woo! All right, you're kind of getting hyped, right? Like this is building up.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome.
He's going to unveil it here in a second. It's going to be crazy.
I revamped it all. And what you're about to see is a very rough cut of the whole thing.
Okay, fair enough. It's
what you're about to see is not the finished.
He's not the finished product. He's just got it together, but getting a little taste. You're getting a little taste. A little dab will do you. A little toe will do you, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to see another win for the toe.
Product of the new set. What you're about to see is not the like the end of the line. It's just the beginning, but
I like that. Okay, well.
Wow. A green screen?
No, it's not. This is real. This is not a green screen. This is
okay.
100% real. Earthquake.
We go. Hello, everybody.
No, okay. You can't play I just played the womp womp. You can't play the crowd goes wild.
Welcome to the Steel Toe Evening Show.
I love it. You've got, number one. So, by the way, the new set is a sign. It's not really a new set. It's a sign. Okay. I saw the sign. You saw the sign. It opened up my eyes. Now I want to shut them. When I was a little kid, this Ace of Base song, I Saw the Sign came out, right? And it was very popular. This was big. You'd go to a skating rink, you would hear it. All right. And we had a gym teacher. His name was Mr. Runak. Don't look him up. Do not send him a clip of this. Okay. But Mr. Runak, he was our gym teacher. And, the qualifications to be a gym teacher at an elementary school are you a guy? There's not a lot of background checks going on as far as I'm concerned. Not enough. Certainly not enough.
Especially at your school.
Especially at well, this is elementary school. But if you know anything about some of my teachers, now Mr. Runak, he would wear the little short shorts. It's gym. Okay, fine, understandable. You could see his nuts. They were hanging out of the shorts, and he was digging at him. This man was scratching. He had an itch that there's no preparation on earth, A through H, couldn't take care of this thing. So we made a song. My first parody song ever. This is my Weird Al origin story. We made a song. This Ace of Base was hugely popular. I made a song called Mr. Runak, okay? And it went a little something like this. I saw Mr. Runak open up his legs. I closed my eyes. I was a kid. All right, I was a little kid. This isn't great or anything, but pretty good for a kid. So, anyway, the point of that story is nothing. It has nothing to do with this fucking sign because there's nothing going on with this fucking sign. This is nothing. What Steel Toe has done is instead of get a brand new studio and instead of use your goal money toward like an amazing setup, because he's a real radio man. Somebody before the show even began in chat said, radio voice. Aaron Imholte is the Count of podcasting, from Sesame Street. 1, 2, 3 ex-wives. Anyway, so he didn't use your goal money toward making a brand new studio. He used it toward nothing. He got some cheap Home Depot shiplap for the wall, that fake trendy shiplap. This is what you would have up, by the way, in, I assume, Stoney's Bar. I've never seen Stoney's Bar and Grill, but I'm going to assume this is exactly what their walls look like. And then I think what happened, I might be wrong about this, but I think what happened is some guy just made him the sign for free, like a fan did it, which, the sign is fine. Not a great font. The sign is fine. We'll talk about the sign. The font, holy shit. The sign is fine, but it's not a brand new. You can't do a big unveiling of a sign. It's not really that big a difference. And then he has the nerve to say, brand new cameras. It's out of focus. And then the worst thing of all, I think he has fixed this since. The worst thing of all, some guy went to all the trouble to make him this, again, local pub sign. It's a local podcast. It's a local pub. It's a fine sign, but it's the decoration of a hole in the wall. In fact, a better decoration would be a hole in the wall, but I have a feeling that's more of the decoration going on at the Rekieta mansion than it is over at the Imholte household. So he had the nerve, the disgusting, absolute. I mean, this is a crime against the guy who made the sign. He put his cheap $30 Amazon Basics microphone arm in front of the sign, in front of his own name, Steel Toe, the man's legal name, Steel Toe Show. And by the way, notice that, it's the Steel Toe morning show, but then he also does a show at night. The guy making the sign was like, he didn't know what to do. He just put show and he called it a day. And the craziest part of this, we haven't even gotten into the craziest part of this. The craziest part of it is, of course, happening right behind his tarantula's head. All that and more on tonight's show we've got for you. We got Steel Toe updates. I told Aaron specifically, I said to him, I can give you the key to making your new studio setup look amazing. It's Pod's Law. What is the one thing I know how to do? Even my worst enemies, my biggest detractors say, well, Pod might know a thing or two about studios. So I told him, if you follow me step by step on everything I tell you to do, I could make this look the absolute, it's polishing a turd, but I could make it look the absolute best it could ever look. Where's Wheelchair Johnny going to go, by the way? Is a ramp been installed? Somebody contact the ADA. So I told him I will only I will only reveal this information if you are willing to do every single thing. Don't make me waste my breath on this. And Aaron responded and he said, go for it. So I believe he is going to take my advice. We're very excited to see him take my advice. We're also got Nick Rekieta's going to jail, and so that's cool. I think he has a gold tooth now as well. He has an iDub style very gold tooth. We've uncovered some old Podawful memorabilia on the internet and a food mystery. All of that coming up on tonight's program. Welcome to Podawful.
I'd like to be Don Draper. I kind of modeled my life after him.
Okay. God damn. That was a painful sentence right there. Even Wheelchair Johnny was like, nah, fuck that. I'm not even responding. I can't even look at it. Oh, wait, that wasn't Wheelchair Johnny in that. Other Wheelchair Johnny. He's got more than one. Whatever. They're all Wheelchair Johnny. Who gives a shit? Hi, everybody. Welcome to Podawful. I'm your host. Hi. By the way, happy holiday to everybody. Yesterday, I heard was a holiday. Happy 120th birthday to a famous guy out there. Happy holidays, everybody. Happy day, the day of 420 to all the henchmen as well. I hope you had a wonderful, happy birthday. Happy to be here. I'm your host, Jesse P.S. This is Podawful. We got the live chat room. Somebody in the chat room said, so this is a gay makeover? Yeah. Yep, that's all it is. We're doing a gay makeover for Aaron Imholte. And by the way, if anybody could use it, it's probably Aaron Imholte, the guy. I mean, we've got him saying,
I suck fucking cock all the time. I just like to say I'm fucking Nick Rekieta in the ass. Nick Rekieta and I are fucking each other.
So, he could probably use a gay makeover. In the mid-2000s, a gay makeover was a gay guy turning a straight guy into a metrosexual. Was it Mersh who recently said he used to be a metrosexual?
Oh, yeah.
Don't we have a clip of him saying he's a metrosexual? We might have some Mersh updates for you as well in this episode. So that used to be what a gay makeover is. In my mind, though, when in the mid-2000s, when they had this queer eye for the straight guy kind of thing, I heard they've got a gay makeover show. I go, that's amazing. They're turning gay guys straight. It turns out it's not that at all. You would think that they would come up with a way, like, I don't know if it's like an electroshock therapy show or something, but that's what I always thought. Anyway, Aaron could use our help, not just on his studio, but his entire, Mersh, a couple years back, he said, I need a new style. He was looking for a new stylist, and he wanted to get a brand new style. He wanted to go back, I believe, to his metrosexuality days. All of a sudden, once you make it metrosexuality, it starts sounding real bad. Back then, you could say, yeah, I'm a metrosexual. And everybody would be like, ha, 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 yeah, I get it. You clean yourself, I guess. I think is all that was. You got a haircut and you cleaned up a little bit. But then you call it metrosexuality, and then people start looking at you queer. So anyway, Aaron Imholte, the entire internet thinks he sucks cock and drinks cum. He could probably use a full-on new style makeover. Of course, when Mersh got his makeover, you have to remember what ended up happening was it was revealed to the entire internet by Mersh himself mostly that he came his pants the last time he was with a woman and then never had sex with her and then has been lusting after her ever since and then started adopting cats and giving himself toxoplasmosis. He had maybe one of the worst beatdown embarrassments on the internet that's ever happened to anyone ever. And then Porcelain paid Indian people to make fun of it. So maybe a makeover is not in Aaron's best interest, but I don't do a show in Aaron's best interest. I do it in mine. Welcome, everybody. We are. We're going to give him a makeover here. We're going to take a look at his set, see what we can do, see how we can rehab this entire thing. Because to be honest, I'm starting to think it might be a teardown. This might be a full on. We got to start from the ground up. Maybe, Aaron, what you might have to do is raise the building to the ground. You know.
We're gonna have to. You know what? The mic might have to be moved over here. We might also have to move Johnny over there.
So he's what? Johnny's going to be in the Max Rebo thing. He's going to be like Zorak, stuck inside, caged inside a keyboard prison. What do you mean over there? Is there a camera over there? He's just pointing off camera. And remember, in the old setup, you know, he's got some sort of mysterious producer or something just off over here that he's always checking in with. Ha 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 ha! 1, 2, 3 arrests. Ha ha ha. So I don't know if he must have other things going on. This is like a hustling, bustling, you know, radio studio. There's interns everywhere.
We'll see. I got a scroll. The only thing that's
I forgot about that. He calls it a scroll. So at the bottom of the screen, he figured out how to add a graphic to his show. That's like a big deal for Aaron. Okay, Aaron has no idea. He's a StreamYard guy, so he has no idea that you can just put things on screen. It took him 6 months to make the Stoney's Bar and Grill image transparent. Okay, it was like halfway not transparent forever. He had to hire a guy just to do that. So now at the bottom of the screen, he's got his donors names coming in and how much money they're giving. So you thought the show was about the goal before. There's a constant reminder. This isn't even a thing to do anymore. Like everybody, when OBS first started being used and everyone was streaming, they started figuring out like, oh, you can trick people into giving you money for fucking nothing. For nothing in return. They started putting the people's names on screen because that way the person goes, oh, I got something. Yay, my name. My name is on the man's show. It's just a guy. Like, who gives a fucking It's not like you're on the news, you know? But I guess you don't really want to be on the news. Usually it's bad if you're on the news. Aaron's was in the news recently. You know who else was in the news recently? His former pal, Nick Rekieta, was in the news recently as well. But Aaron had some good news come his way. Right? What happened with Aaron? Because, like, he was going to be fried. He was going to be killed because he showed a friend of his a naked lady that he fucked. Something like that. What was the story there? One of you guys has to know. Black Greg, Astrobot, one of you guys know.
Yeah, he showed a picture of Nick's wife, Kayla, to Gino Visconti.
Well, our wife, Kayla. Our wife, we call her.
Our wife.
Our wife.
He sent it over text, said, how did your boy do? Your boy didn't do half bad, did he?
Right, and as we all know, it is the worst, most illegal crime in the world to show a guy your phone and a naked lady on it. No one out there's ever done that. It's never happened before. So then he got off? Like he won that one, right?
Essentially, he hasn't been sentenced yet, but he pretty much got off for like $50 to pay the
$50.
Fine,
so remember that, folks. You want to show your friend a lady that you've put your wiener in, $50 will do you. That's pretty worth it, by the way. I think I would do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
especially if it was Nick Rekieta's wife, I'd probably pay that fine. By the way, if he had showed it to the entire, like, you got to think about it like this. What if he had shown it on stream? Would it still only be $50 because it was the first time? Was the price because he only showed it to Gino? Or did they like take one look at Gino and his weird headband hiding his bald head and go, okay, who gives a shit? All right, $50. That's fine. That's the lowest we can go, by the way. We would have said $0, but legally it has to be $50. Anyway, he became friends with the judge in his mind. He became friends with all the cops in his mind. And essentially, $50. How'd your boy do? Pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, that's not that bad. And then you've got Rekieta, who, my former lawyer, by the way, Nick Rekieta, who everybody, including me, said, like, damn, this guy got off real easy. He gave his kid cocaine. He, like, force-fed his child cocaine until it was coming through their mouth and then out their nose. The rare time cocaine goes the other way. The kid, apparently he was using it as shampoo in his kid's hair, the little girl's hair. He's rubbing it inside her fucking scalp until she bled. And also, I think they arrested him for having a dirty house, I believe was part of the charges. And everybody was like, wow, you know, you had drugs. This is like Schedule 1 possession with intent to distribute and manufacture or something like that. I'm pretty sure you had mysterious brown substances. The cops are also upset that you're just, you know, gross, that you're like gross as a guy. Nick is now claiming that the cops are like, we gotcha. He says that. We watched him on Dick Masterson, and he was like, they said, we got ya. Like they'd been after him forever. Like he's this mastermind criminal. And it turns out he is, because Nick got way, way worse than Aaron. Of the two of them, who wins? Really? Think about it. Because Aaron, $50, good. Nick Rekieta is going to fucking jail.
I am high energy. I can't control myself.
It's official.
Jesus.
He's going to jail. Okay? It's happening. So, and by the way, of the two of them, which one ended up with ape? So who really has it worse when you really think about it, ladies and gentlemen? I think Aaron got off easy. So he's feeling good. Too easy. And that's why we're not letting him get away with it. We are going to be critiquing this whole setup. Now, here's something you haven't even noticed. So they've got the scroll at the bottom. That's hideous. That's horrendous. There's an element to this whole thing you haven't even noticed yet. Take a look at this.
Driving me mildly nuts is that the camera is still not dead right on balls even, but it's
crooked. There's also a crooked element to it.
It's getting close. You'll see we have the leaderboard scrolling across the...
Oh, God. I'll do anything to be the leader. By the way, the leader shouldn't the leader be one of us? Didn't we send in like the most money ever to his show? Who was it? I can't even remember who did it now.
Bottom of the screen.
I think it was Scampus.
Was it Scampus? Scampus sent in so much.
Yeah.
You'll see that when we bring stuff
Why isn't Scampus at the bottom there?
up. There it is.
Look at this. He figured out putting graphics on screen. So does that mean if I ever am a guest again, I won't be squished finally?
It's right there.
There's no way. You'll be squished.
Oh, yeah. 100% I'm getting squished.
Look, nothing in PayPal yet.
Is it? Speaking of, by the way, is my setup looking dark? Is that just me? Is that like my vision? Or am I going blinder? Or is everything a little
That's about right.
darker?
Might be a tad dark. Yeah.
It's a tad darker.
Turn the red light up a little bit.
Nice and
There
red.
we go.
You know what? I'm going to do nothing, actually.
Look at that. Boosamok says.
Speaking of lights, has anybody noticed the horrific thing going on? There's a little secret. There's a little Easter egg, okay? A little something extra sprinkled into the new sign.
Says, oof, that looks
I'll throw it up on screen here for you. You seeing this?
Oh,
You seeing what I'm seeing?
terrible. What the do you have any idea how
He's got Tinkerbell twinkling Christmas lights hiding inside the sign that you can, by the way, barely make out on camera. They're barely visible. So he's got the cheapest, oldest, world's worst LEDs. And I don't know if maybe the sign guy did this. Maybe Aaron did it. Maybe the sign guy was like, hey, listen, man, I can put in LEDs for you, but it's going to cost like this much extra. And Aaron's like, forget about it. I'll just buy it on Amazon. I'll buy it off of Temu if I have to. I'll go to Alibaba Express and get it. And then he actually ended up buying in bulk. He ended up buying $200 worth of LEDs, but they were each only 18 cents each strand. So this is horrific.
how good this looks on my screen?
Obviously, there's an improvement going on. Obviously, this is way better than Dirty Basement, which is what it was before. It was just a disorganized disaster. It looked like a divorced dad life was going on behind him, having the scrawled, horrific handwriting on the whiteboard and all that stuff. And of course, the infamous Nazi boot sign that he used to have, which is crazy. This LED, though, is a real problem. I'm going to go piece by piece on every little thing he's got to do here. There's one other issue going on, and we really haven't addressed this yet. Aaron is sitting in front of the logo for the show. And of course, the logo, I would say, the boot, the steel bottom boot, by the way, for some reason, the entire bottom. That's a good detail, actually. So the guy made the boot. It's a physical, it's not just drawn on there. It's a physical object on the sign. And he went to the extra trouble to make the entire sole of the boot diamond-plated metal, and it does. It adds something. It's the best part of the sign. However, it's still a stolen clip art boot. Okay, so we had the opportunity. We had the full opportunity to take an artisan and have him just make a new boot for the sign. And he went, fuck it, I'll just keep stealing. And that's a problem. Step number one, I am going to need you, Aaron, to license the clip art. All right? You have to buy the license. Art parts. Look it up. It's in the episode. We did a whole episode about this. You need to license the clip art. You are stealing right now. This is a theft. And I'm starting to wonder if that's why he decided to plant his big bulbous head right in front of the boot, is to try to hide. He's covering up his crimes right now. It's the best looking part of the sign. Because then we go to the other side of the sign, and it's the guy. I guess the guy was just given carte blanche. The sign guy, Aaron doesn't even know what a font is. You tell him, hey, what typeface do you need? He's like, I don't know. I don't own a typewriter. He has no fucking clue what's going on with this. So the guy just went, I don't know. And he went to his, honestly, these might be pre-made letters. He might have gone to Joann Fabrics and picked these up. Michael's Arts and Crafts might have just already had these for people who want to put their last name on the front of their house, which is always a great idea. And I do recommend everybody does that, and then let me send a DoorDasher to your house and take a picture just in case. So I don't know who chose this font. The font is a problem. I think he even addresses the font.
So I got this photography lighting years ago.
The font is hilarious, someone says. Oh, he's talking about the lighting. Yeah, let's talk about the lighting.
And we decided not to use them. We decided not to use the photography lighting. We're like, it's too bright.
Some guy says that's tombstone font. That's here's what's throwing me. This is it looks almost like a stretched vertically Times New Roman, which is very boomer sat down at computer and used first font available to print out. But the thing that's throwing me off here is the O has a split down the middle of it like a stencil font. Was the guy incapable of carving out the perfect circle of an O, so he had to go half and half? I don't know what's going on. It's a mess. The font is a mess, but this is all salvageable.
April didn't like it. I didn't like it. And then today I'm just like, the camera is good.
It's not. He's completely out of focus here.
It's solid. It's a lighting issue. I got to just get rid of all this extra dog shit that I have. Turn all the lights off in this room and just take those bright lights and blast them right at my face. And I'm going to tell you right now.
You should have gotten a red light.
It's painful.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like it. And as you can see, the sign is eating a lot of the light. We're going to get all
the
of the
sign is eating the light. It's not eating it. It's fucking reflecting it back into my eyes. Look at this shine on the sign. Oh, my God. Okay, so there's a lot. Again, no shade to the sign guy. The sign guy did the best with what he had. He was told to use a clip art. He was told, I don't give a shit about the font. And this is what we ended up with. I kind of like the little addition of the show inside a box. He's done it in negative space there. There's some good things happening here. The color choices are atrocious, but these are the color. This is what he decided. His show is orange and black. He's Halloween. And of course he's Halloween. He's controlled by spiders. So I guess it all makes sense. Now, you guys may not recall, but I want to say, when was he still with April? 2 years ago? I think it was 2 years ago.
A year ago.
A year ago? Really?
Really?
Well, he was with
1
April.
year
Yeah, they got
ago in
divorced
April, she
June.
left in April.
Oh, she
Yeah.
left in April. That's
left
right,
in
April. He
Yeah,
said,
divorced in June.
I forgot. I went on his show and I said, hey, yeah, congratulations. It's done. April's over. No more April. I forgot. And I just said that because it was May. He didn't understand. And that was before we knew, by the way. I was like congratulating him on no more April, but nobody knew officially that she was gone or that all the Nick Rekieta stuff was true yet. That was all speculative when that happened. All right. So over a year ago, let's say, I had a concept. I said, this was back when they had the old backdrop. Remember, they had this big printed, I wish he still had, that would be so funny if he had that printed out banner behind him again that's got all the co-hosts that are now dead and missing on it, starting to look like that infamous X-Men comic cover where it's like slain, killed in action, missing. What happened to Corey? Isn't there a guy called Corey? That was deep lore for me to pull out. If there's a guy called
Corey Adam.
Corey Adam.
Walrus.
What happened to Wheelchair Johnny? Where is he? He was slain by a sentinel. He couldn't wheel away in time. So I said, here's my concept for their studio. Here's what they need to do. All right. What they should do is they should host the they should host the show outside. Okay. Where it should be the theme of the show. And I'm not kidding. I didn't even think about, I don't know if I even knew that their colors were Halloween colors back then. I said, the theme of the show should be a graveyard where, do you remember this now? You remember what I'm talking about?
It's kind of jogging to me. Yeah.
So what they should do is every episode of the show, basically what they do is they dig a grave in their backyard and they set the cameras up out there. Okay. And they by the way, I think I even said, like, get a really well-designed tombstone behind it. So, which, would have been a sign. You could have gotten a sign maker to make a thing that looks like, but it's like, here lies Steel Toe, or here lies Aaron. And then Aaron climbs inside the grave at the beginning of the show, every episode. And I said,
now I remember.
Now, here's the problem. This is not my idea anymore. Because this idea only worked when April was there. He needed April for this. It's an ape job. All right. But we've had an ape escape. So what he ought to do is he climbs into the grave. And as the show goes on, every time they get closer and closer to their goal, April takes a big shovel full of dirt and throws it on him. And he just acts like it's not even happening. It's just like he's like, oh, hey, thanks to, I don't know, who's one of his guys. Thanks to Ms. Tay, for 25, and there's just a big face full of fucking dirt and soot and soil and silt.
And worms.
And okay, this was a big part of it too, so originally the way I came up with the idea was I kept looking at Aaron, and he reminds me so much of an earthworm. I mean, look at him. Look at his head. Doesn't his head coming out? Yeah. This looks like, the body looks like it's an afterthought. It looks like this is an accessory that he has. This is Earthworm Jim. His head. Royce's wife. They're all tube people. They look like their head is coming out of a power suit and that the real body is nestled inside the neck. And again, it's a worm with a spider on top. That's Halloween. Okay. So I was thinking, like, he's an earthworm. He should be tunneling through the dirt. I was really thinking about this. I spend a lot of time watching podcasts, watching live streamers, and I look at their terrible studios and setups, and it's just something I do. It's something I'm into. It's a hobby of mine. And so I'd been staring at Steel Toe's god awful set forever and going, what is the real theme of Steel? It's not toes or boots. What the fuck does that mean? Like I said before, this is a dude LARPing as a blue collar guy. That's all that is. You're not blue collar. You're a dirt man, earthworm. You eat dirt. You burrow. You're involved with blood and guts and bones. There should be skeletons around you. And April, remember April was next to him. So obviously it did give this look of there being a corpse nearby, this horrific, desiccated, decrepit corpse. You can see her full skull on display as her hairline crawls to the back of her neck. A truly spine-tingling feeling. And so wouldn't it be cool if he was sitting in a grave? You can see skeleton. You know, like when in a cartoon when they go to the other side of the world and they go through the planet to do it, and you can see everything. There's little Easter eggs hidden in the sand. There's always a full T-Rex skeleton just underneath. And there's like a pirate treasure in there and stuff. That kind of stuff. You know, something fun. Something nice. You just put that together. You have an outdoor backyard. He's an outdoor backyard kind of guy. I bet you Stoney's has an outdoor patio that he likes to hang out on and play cornhole. That's probably how he met Nick. Was cornholing. So, and I hear he's good at cornhole. This guy loves cornhole. So he calls it bago. I go, no, it's cornhole. Trust me. When you're doing it, it's cornhole. So wouldn't it be nice to have an outdoor backyard setup for your show where you're sitting there eating dirt all day?
I'd watch it.
And that's the real draw. You would have to watch that show. The show where a guy is getting buried alive every episode. just a mouthful of dirt in the middle of him going, so the Pope died today. There's a worm in his mouth. There's visibly worms and bugs. And by the way, she's also throwing bugs on him. They've got a big pile of bugs, assorted bugs. You know, you can buy these things bulk, wholesale, ladybugs, crickets, beetles, various beetles, those Madagascar hissing cockroaches or whatever. You get a bunch of those, throw them right at his big stupid head. And you fill him up. You just bury him alive in bugs and dirt and worms. And then the episode ends when she pats the shovel on top and you can't hear him anymore. The end. And then April wipes the sweat off her brow, plants the shovel into the ground, and you see her walk off inside as the music plays out. Anyway, that's what I thought they should do. But I've been informed that they don't have the budget for this. Okay? Apparently, they're not hitting their goals enough to have a dirt and bug worm budget. So I have taken that into consideration for what I'm about to give. I want to listen. Every single thing, every piece of advice I'm going to give Aaron during this episode is totally doable and achievable. You just got to do it. You just got to take the time and do it.
Future. But right now, I wanted to frame the sign as good as
I'll take 3 pallets of ladybugs, please. Yeah,
we could. Because we were having that tilting issue.
I'd donate to that goal. How could you not donate to the goal of burying a man alive in bugs? It's impossible. And then you see, by the way, I would even be willing, because I'm not a corner cutting guy. You guys know this. No half measures. Something I live by. Mm-hmm. I don't allow the henchmen to do half measures ever. Every time they do, it's an admonishment. But I'm willing to make a caveat and say it would be still a worthwhile show if he was only buried up to his neck. Imagine his tubular head poking out of the dirt, wobbling around like that, like a wacky inflatable tube man. That'd be incredible too.
And I wanted to get that.
Because I know he would be like, Jesse, I can't have dirt in my eyes and nostrils and mouth, of course. Maybe my sphincter, but not. And then I would have to be like, Aaron, it's fine. It's only for like a minute. I'm not saying you have to die under there. Have a system with a pipe where you can breathe through it. Or something. I don't care. I'm not trying to get you killed. And he would come up with every excuse in the book not to be buried alive. And trust me, I've thought about it. We'll make sacrifices in order to get this done, but I've tweaked my ideas.
Nailed down, and we were having all sorts of problems. So I thought, you know what? We're going to get this taken care of. We'll work the zoom if we have to. By the way, the zoom on this camera versus the zoom on the other camera.
Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Because we've been You know how much he zooms? You know he's zooming on things.
God. Holy shit, is it night and day. The business does that.
By the way, as he says that, the camera zooms in on the background and defocuses on him. That camera must be going, I'm positive it doesn't want me to focus on this worm jiggling around in front of the camera. The camera thinks that the worm is right in front of the lens and it just accidentally got there. It's trying everything in its power. It's actually a very good camera. It's smart, it's an AI-powered smart camera that knows that there's no possible way that the host of a show could be a bug.
Better. The show does better. Things level up. And you guys are... You know that if I get compliments, my head gets big, so you don't give me the compliments. But I wish you guys, like Boozamak and all these guys, I wish they could drop the act for a second and admit your boy didn't do too bad, did he?
Okay, funny reference. I get it. Ha ha ha. However, you know what? He's right. He's right. This is like, you rarely see a goon improve. You rarely see them level up. You remember when Mersh decided to level up his studio and we made fun of his giant bezeled TV? And then what did he do? He said, I'm putting up a green screen temporarily. It's never gone down. Yeah. It's been a green screen ever since. We bullied him out of having a chat on screen, out of having a physical studio. We bullied him out of the Chinese lamp. I destroyed a Chinese lamp on camera. Mersh is like, I got a green screen now. That's how simple it is. So we can affect change, ladies and gentlemen. We can make this Steel Toe show even better. So I don't want Aaron to think that any part of me is mocking the idea. Like, he did it. He tried and he did improve. And of course, all of that was done by the guy who made the sign and not Aaron. All Aaron did was hang up the sign. Really, we're just dealing with sign. But he's talking like there's going to be a whole multi-camera shoot where Wheelchair Johnny is suspended in some sort of sex dungeon swing across, which I would like to see. I might have to add that to the plans here coming up. If we could have him like Pinocchio suspended from the ceiling where he's animated, he does a little dance. Because, he's kind of sleepy. Wheelchair Johnny, listen, I get it. He's in a wheelchair. All right. But he comes to the show, he's high, he's got those horrifying eyes that kill, and every single time I see him, I go, uh-oh, time for a little nap, because it seems like he's already taking one. Maybe if we could just get somebody to physically animate him, and he would love it, by the way. He would go, my legs, they move again. This is just, I remember when I could do this. He would, imagine that. That would be like a nice thing to do for a guy with disabilities.
I think that's
what was that?
A simulator for him.
Yes, a normal human man simulator. Thank you, Chris. Imagine that. Imagine getting the opportunity to walk again and to pretend for just, even if it's just a couple hours every day while your co-host is being buried up to his neck in dirt and worms. That you get to experience being a real boy.
Melton, seething as usual, got him rattled. You're not the first person who's told me that. I had a couple people write me today that said, boy, you've really got him riled up today. He's mad. I thought A-logging someone was supposed to be fun. I thought if you went after someone, you were like the guy having fun. Why am I always the guy laughing at people? Why is that?
Well, because you're a delusional freak. But anyway, so now he has made improvements. Let's be fair here. Aaron has fixed it up a little bit. We should probably show the more recent version of this. Here's just a random clip here.
I admitted I was open with, I was like, which, by the way, I would have done from day one.
And it does look better now a little bit. It's actually more crooked than before. The lighting is worse. you can't, by the way, he's turned off the LEDs entirely, I believe.
I would have done from day one. I would have admitted to what
Yeah, there's no LEDs going on whatsoever. He's almost in focus, so let's give him that.
There's more sign glare.
There's more sign glare. It is worse. It is worse. The sign glare is worse. The sign does look worse now, actually, somehow. It actually somehow from the last one to this one, everything does. He technically he moved the cheap microphone stand, which is also good, but it does somehow now look infinitely worse, which is almost not possible.
I did, and we could have moved on past this whole thing, but they had to add something on there that I didn't do, and I beat that one, and they dropped it, and they agreed. They said, all right, you didn't do that one, but did you do this one? And I said, yeah. They said, you put that on paper, we're good. I said, okay. Feel bad. I'm sorry. Stupid, terrible thing to do. I'd like to be able to admit it and move
Oh, okay. So he's talking about his $50 oopsie here.
on. And that's what we did. They've got him dead to rights on the felony. Yeah, to the point that we were, to the point where they were like, all right, forget the felony. I feel like maybe the prosecutor watches Nick and Mersh, and they were like, oh, God, if these dipshits think it's a good thing, I got it. You know what? Let's drop that.
That's a good
Somebody's
theory.
watching Mersh.
I mean, yeah, come on. Even they wouldn't legally watch Mersh. Like, if they had to, for a court of law, watch Mersh, any judge, any lawyer in the land is going to give up about 5 minutes. Mersh starts making those mouth sounds. The cats start crawling around him. They're going to be like, okay, listen, just give him the chair. Who cares?
Annoyed Wawa supervisor says nitrous huffing lawyer doesn't have the same ring to it, if I'm being honest. That's true. Nitrous huffing lawyer is not as good. Annoyed Wawa supervisor says Mersh has no room to criticize anyone. He couldn't make food stamps work and snitches to police.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't know who that guy is. Thank you.
Yeah, didn't he write like a big letter? He wrote like a big letter to like a detective in
I
Florida,
didn't write it. He tinked it.
like trying to get Jesse P.S. and porcelain and didn't he try? Yeah. Somebody fill me in on the Mersh lore. Maybe I'll have to go back.
Oh, geez, I wish I knew someone who could fill me. Aaron, hello? I said to Aaron, your court case is basically over here. You just pay $50 and you're good. Shouldn't you be good to finally do what you promised and come on Podawful? And he was like, ha, 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 ha. I was like, that's not a response at all. And then he started digging himself into the ground and he disappeared. I couldn't even get a word from
You can
him.
watch the porcelain documentaries. But didn't he try to get Porcelain in trouble with the cops because Porcelain was saying mean things about him on Discord?
Yeah, it was just porcelain.
I got a great idea, Mersh. Get off of Discord and go do some shit. It's what I do. Only time I ever see Discord is when people inside that Discord community are ratting out the other people and sending it to me. Yeah, no, Snowcat Tish, that wasn't it. It was more they kind of saw the case falling apart with the Gino and Keanu stuff, and they were like, look, let's... And we had already let them know, like, what we were willing to do.
His idea of how the court cases work is so funny, where he's like, yeah, listen, we just kind of threw it at him like, you guys, you don't have shit. Here's our idea. Actually, I'm in charge now. Sorry, you're out of your jurisdiction. Legal Aaron. So the sign looks worse. Aaron actually somehow looks worse. I don't know if that's because he's in focus now, but there's all this going on. He kind of looks like if Tintin had no adventures, sort of the scenario going on. And this scroll bar thing at the bottom is really bad. He did some improvements for sure. There's some things fixed, but I have exactly what you need. Now, Aaron, I know you're watching. He watches every episode. He's a pizza funder. Grab your little notebook. Get your pen ready. Give it a big lick. Finish your plate of dirt. And I'm going to tell you everything you need to do to fix this disastrous setup. We'll be right back.
Podawful helps.
Is this a cult if I ever heard one? Yes, it is. It's a cult. I mean, it's the cult of cults.
Okay, and didn't somebody catch Comedy She-Man in Wheelchair Johnny's chat room recently? What's going on? Comedy She-Man. I saw it.
Sure did.
I saw it in our chat here earlier. Somebody was like, Comedy She-Man is over in Ralph's Discord. Comedy She-Man's watching Ethan. I keep getting reports of Comedy She-Man in every single Goon's chat room. He's really trying to make a comeback here. What happened with Wheelchair Johnny?
He's just seemed to be going wherever anybody was live, and it happened to be Johnny. He nonsensical chirping at Johnny, and then Johnny waved goodbye and just cut him.
So he got banned from Wheelchair
Banned.
Johnny's chat room.
Banned.
That shouldn't even
For
be
nothing.
What
Just
did he
hopped in and made fun of him for no reason.
What did he say to him? Do you remember anything like he?
No details, just kind of trolling him, whatever. You're Johnny, you've got crutch.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, the Comedy She-Man episode is coming. I need a little bit more work, a little more time on it. But the episode is coming. If you don't know Comedy She-Man, he is the bottom of the Dabbleverse is Spurtopia. He's below that. He's the Dabbleverse's human punching bag. There's nothing going on with it, but he's actually our favorite guy, Comedy She-Man. He was chirping at me today on Discord. I caught him in Grace Thorpe's Discord. By the way, you can join us on Discord, podawful.com/cult. If you'd like to join us on Discord, you can call into the show, join the call-in channel, and jump in here with us. If you have anything to add about Steel Toe or any of the topics here at Podawful, podawful.com/cult again. So he was in the Grace Thorpe Discord, and I believe he was masturbating to big fat pictures of Grace Thorpe or something like that. I don't know what he was doing in there, but anyway, I caught him up to some no good activities. And you guys don't know this yet. Not everybody's aware of this yet, but Comedy She-Man is fully owned by Podawful Cult. Now, I don't mean he's just a member of Podawful Cult. Comedy She-Man is owned. He is property of Podawful, and he admits to this fact. So what I caught him doing earlier today is really despicable. You would think he'd be smarter than this, but I found something out. This is crazy. I found out today that because Comedy She-Man, because I'm on the moon and because I monitor and view every single thing that Comedy She-Man does in his life, and because we spent 9 months catfishing him, one time we spent 9 months catfishing the guy. He can't fucking get over it. He now believes he's in the True Man show. Okay? This is not a joke. This is not a joke. We've been catching him. If you don't know Comedy She-Man, you got to get on the Comedy She-Man train. I'm just going to force this on you guys. It's just like the Rufio stuff. Nobody used to believe in the Rufio stuff. He's the best goon. I have to encourage now everybody loves Rufio. Comedy She-Man is Neo Rufio. Okay? He's Rufio in the Matrix. It's amazing. And we're obsessed. We're way more obsessed with him than we are with Mersh or anybody else. Okay? Alex Stein wishes we were obsessed with him the amount that we're obsessed with Comedy She-Man. Now he's True Man. What was Truman's name? What was his full name in the True Man show? Sherman, I think. Sherman True Man. Something like that. Anyway, so I don't remember. It's been a while since I've seen the True Man show. So True Man, was played by Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey, if you don't know, is not just a sex pest who murdered his girlfriend through gaslighting and herpes. Look it up. That's just true. I don't have the time to explain that one. But you remember when, all of a sudden out of nowhere, we're going to get back to Steel Toe in a second. You remember all of a sudden out of nowhere, Jim Carrey was going around on all the news and all the red carpets and everything. And he's like, I'm not here. There is no one named Jim Carrey. I'm a Zen Buddha man now. Nothing is real and everything is a fabrication. I'm as real as the thought of a institutionalized child. Maybe we're all inside a retard snow globe. Do you remember this? This is a thing he was up to for like a while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, on the red carpet.
Yes. So, I mean, everybody knows that one clip. He was doing this forever. Like, remember the Norm Macdonald episode that Jim Carrey was on, which is actually a great episode, but he was doing it there too, and Norm wasn't allowing it. Maybe we should do an episode about that someday, like the Stephen Merchant one, because it's a really great episode, and Norm is the only guy in that entire era to put Jim Carrey in his fucking place during all that stupid shit. And he finally did break out of it. I wonder if the Norm thing had something to do with it. I'll have to look back into that. But Norm was I can't remember exactly what it was, but Jim Carrey tried to do his like, I'm nobody, man. I'm like, there is no Jim Carrey, okay? And then Norm was like, yeah, but then how are you fucking sitting here? Then or something. He like just got him, and there was Jim Carrey had no thought or answer for this. And the entire reason he was doing that was because he had just made his girlfriend commit suicide by giving her herpes. Okay? And everybody knew it. And like, he was giving her drugs and he gave her herpes. And then he was on Norm Macdonald Live trying to give everybody their herpes. He was making them all drink out of his cup. It was disgusting. And you could see Norm on his face. He's like, heh, heh, heh. And he did not want to drink out of Jim's cup because he knew about the simplex, the virus that was inside him. But then I think what happened was Norm was like, I'm going to fucking die of cancer anyway. Who cares? And he drank out of it. So this whole thing of him acting like nothing's real and I'm not even a guy and all this stuff, the entire point of it was to try to distance himself from his crime. In the same way, comedy She-Man now believes he's Jim Carrey. He thinks he's in the True Man show, and he is trying to distance himself from being catfished for 9 months because he fell in love. He is now nominally aware that feds, the lady that pretended to be trans to catfish him, that it was all fake and she never had any interest in him. But he's still in love with the idea of her. And he can't parse out, this is not a joke, he can't parse out what was real and what was fiction. And we've told him, I've tried to help him. Because, I kind of feel bad about the 9-month-long catfish. I do. I legitimately do. I was actually going to apologize.
It was mostly Feds' fault.
It was mostly Feds and a lot dirt. But I actually do kind of feel bad for it. I mean, 9-month-long catfish sounds amazing and hilarious. And, of course, it was. And it sounds worth it and like you should do it again. And you're right. But I do feel bad for it, and I do want to apologize to Comedy She-Man because I also, an interesting thing happened in that time. While Comedy She-Man fell in love with a woman that doesn't exist, a man lady that doesn't exist, I fell in love with the idea of the Comedy She-Man. He's like a perfect goon. He really is. I wanted to mold him into this character of the internet, and then he ran away from the internet. Well, he's been popping his head back up in all the different chat rooms. He's getting banned by Wheelchair Johnny. And now I keep getting reports. I keep getting screenshots. He's in all these Discord channels going, I'm not real, man. Nothing is real. 3 dimensions are an illusion. And he's pulling the full Jim Carrey. So I'm talking to him today. Let me find the little bit here. I was talking to him today. I screenshotted this. Where is it? Ooh, boy. You see, the Shaman channel on our Discord is like always pumping. It's crazy. Yep. That one's always alive. You would think it would be like Mersh or something. No, it's Shaman. So I said, your retarded autistic fixation. Oh, so his whole thing, I said I had musical anhedonia because I'm not that into music. I don't really listen to music. So he's like fixated on this idea that I just have anhedonia, which is like the ability to feel at all anything ever. I said, your retarded autistic fixation on not understanding musical anhedonia is a separate thing from general anhedonia, while trying to pull a Jim Carrey style nothing is real man bit is wild work but expected. He replied, by the way, he's going by the name Ceramic Brushes now, Clay Combs, Ceramic Brushes. We clocked him instantly. He's saying, don't know if I've ever seen anyone be self-aware, to be honest. I have no idea what that means. Sometimes he's just talking to himself. So you got to let him say whatever. He's going to have a monologue by himself, and then you have to like get in there and have a conversation with him in the middle of his villain monologue. Then he says, oh, but it's cool for you to play Truman Show? So I said, ha, 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 fuck, wait, you're pretending to be Jim Carrey because you think I made your life the Truman Show? Ha, ha. So today I figured out that he believes he's Jim Carrey. For real. For real. And twice now, he's tried to rejoin our Discord. A thing he said he would never come back to Discord, by the way. And he's now tried to join our Discord under 2 different alt accounts. And both times instantly got clocked as himself. There is no one on earth more obvious through text than Comedy She-Man. But then he had the nerve to join us in voice chat. And he was trying, he thinks he's this amazing impressionist, even though he sucks. He thinks he's like so good at doing impressions that he came in and he was like, hello, everybody, this is my voice. Like, that's like a real guy. And everybody just goes, oh, hey, Clay, what's up? Totally natural. Like, it wasn't a big deal. We're just like, what's up, man? How you doing? Hey, Comedy She-Man is here. We were excited. This is what he doesn't get is like everybody was like legitimately happy to be here. Happy for him to be there. And he was like, oh, fuck, you guys know it's me. All right, I'll come back with another character. And then left. And then yesterday, it's the big holiday. Okay. My kids, they've been put to bed. I take a moment. I go, you know what? Let me check the Discord now that all the festivities are over. We're done reviewing the tapes from the high school and what happened that day in the library. This is how we celebrate in my house. And I took one look at Discord and nothing was going on because it was Easter. And I figured there'd be nothing going on, but I thought, let me just check and make sure. And there was one guy. There was one thing happening in the Discord yesterday. A brand new guy had joined. He hadn't typed anything yet. I took one look at his profile and I went, that's Comedy She-Man. Could have been anybody. We have people join every single day, brand new listeners every day, people joining the Pizza Fund all the time. I took one look at it. I said, that's Comedy She-Man. 2 seconds later, he starts typing. He's in chat. He sees that what happened was he saw that I was online. So he starts typing in show discussion. I see him typing. He says one thing. I go, I'm right. That's She-Man. And for the next 2 minutes, I'm just messing with him. He was like, what goons should kill themselves? And then somebody else, I think Bob was like, no, none of them. We like them. It's like fun. None of them. He just had a real answer. He didn't know this was Comedy She-Man. I responded. I was like, none of them should kill themselves, but you know who really should feel fucking embarrassed is Comedy She-Man. He's still in love with the woman who catfished him and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, clearly I know it's him. And he keeps responding as if I don't. And then finally, I tricked him into saying that the world isn't real because I knew he had been doing that. I said something about the world and he goes, reality isn't real. And I go, boom, got him. Comedy She-Man, I know it's you. And he's like, damn it, I'll come back with another character. He spent his Easter pretending to be a new guy in order to try to enact his Riddler-style revenge on Podawful or whatever. I don't know what's going on his head, but I will say this. I am apologetic to She-Man. I really am. I am going to do this episode about him because I promised I was going to do it. I told him if he broke our truce, this episode would happen. That happened. So we're doing the episode. But I feel bad for, like, he's so fucked up. It's like, it's crazy. And for a guy who thinks that nothing is real, I keep saying to him, well, if nothing is real, then your feelings and your pain about being catfished aren't real. So just get over it. And he keeps saying the past doesn't exist. I was like, nobody lives in the past more than you. You are obsessed with old radio shit. You're a Dabbleverse guy. You're obsessed with Howard Stern and Opie and Anthony and P.D. Green, a guy no one's ever even heard of. You're obsessed with a thing that happened a year ago with a woman who doesn't exist. If the past doesn't exist, then how are you this affected by it? So I feel really bad. It's like it's put a real psychological curse on him. And it's even worse than that. I'm not going to reveal it yet. We'll wait for the She-Man episode, but we found out, we talked to somebody close to She-Man in his life, and we found out something very, very embarrassing about his life. Join the Discord if you want sneak peeks. But unfortunately, there is some stuff going on in his real world. So I literally went into that Discord server today to apologize to him, to say, hey, man, whatever you want to think of it, you don't have to accept the apology. I am going to do the show about you because you did break that trust, but I will literally tell my people, it's like, leave him alone because it's too much. It's like with Mersh. He's too low down. It's too much. We got to give him time to build himself back up. You know, he's lying, saying he's coming back in June to do a show. He said that back in October, then November, then December, and then never showed up again. He's going to be off the internet for 2 years, just like Rufio was. So I'm like, let's give him a break. He really can't handle even the slightest criticism. No one is less brutally honest than a junkie. Comedy She-Man is not honest. He's a liar. And so he needs some breathing room. It's like it's crashing down around him too fast. But then I caught him. I caught him lashing out at people, trying to dox somebody else's mom at like maybe the worst time ever to try to go after someone else's mom. I promise you, She-Man, is the worst time ever to try to do that. So I said, hey, man, just apologize and move on, and everything's good. I don't think he's willing to do it. I think this is about to get really, really bad. Get on the Comedy She-Man train, everybody.
Choo-choo, all aboard the Beachheart Express.
So anyway, he was in the Wheelchair Johnny chat room. He's getting kicked out everywhere. He's looking for attention. Wheelchair Johnny, though, what is going on with Wheelchair Johnny? Where is he going to get set up in all this? Let's go over the studio, okay? Now, he's sitting in the same area. This is Aaron Imholte. He's sitting in the same area on the Steel Toe show as he was before. He's just put up this one little square. By the way, I just noticed this. Oh, my God. This weird shiplap thing he's got the sign on is itself a thing mounted onto the wall. Like,
oh, my God.
Do you see that? What is this?
Yeah, I just saw it.
Oh, my God. Amount within amount.
We're double mounted. This is like Nick Rekieta and Aaron Imholte on Kayla Rekieta all over again. We're double mounted.
Nick Rekieta and I are fucking each other.
So, anyway, this is what is happening here? Seriously.
And they came that way and a little bit more, and we were like, well,
oh, you know what?
Hard to say. Hard to say no. Veldrain with $1 says Nick is a great guy unless he has access to narcotics, social media that feeds it.
Okay, I think what's happening here is, remember he had that shelf. He had that shelf that all that crap sat in. So I think, that shelf is like a built-in. It's part of the bait. You can't remove it. So I think that might be the shelf there, but it's still this weird, bizarre thing he's mounted to the wall. So we've got a sign on a sign. Basically, that's a problem that I was not aware of before coming up with this plan. Here's the deal. We're too close. Okay? Now, Aaron, you and I know we're not the closest, compadres or anything. In fact, I don't think you trust me as far as you could throw me. But I don't need to be this close to you as a man. The camera is too fucking close. Now, he said before that it's zoomed, that it can, oh man, this camera can zoom like you wouldn't believe. So maybe it's all the way across the room and he's just punching in. Look how far away I am from RoboCam. Okay? I couldn't reach it if I tried. It's so far from me right now. Aaron, what are we doing? What am I looking at here? Why am I inside your nostrils controlling your webs like your tarantulas? I don't want to be involved with you this deeply. And imagine you did have a co-host on there. Where is he going to go? In your lap? So there's a lot that needs to be done here. Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out the big board.
Bring it out.
Oof.
Let's go.
We got to really go over
Oh
this.
no, Aaron.
Oh no. Uh-oh.
Big board looks great, Colonel.
All right, let's really, really dive into this fucking thing. Holy shit. Look how bad. Now, the paint job on this is not great. You see,
Or is that just the shininess?
Well, it's both. So the shininess
Okay.
is revealing paint errors. I'm going to guess the sign guy, again, God bless him. I'm going to guess he didn't really know what he was doing when it comes to paint. He can build. Paint isn't really his forte. There needs, and by the way, the entire sign, it's a little too clean. Now, I'm not saying that it needs to be filthy, which I'm sure it will be soon. But bring over wheelchair Johnny, let him rub his boogers on it. Nothing like that. I'm just saying. he seems like a boogery guy. I'm just saying that for the look you're going for, this sort of dilapidated, hole-in-the-wall, pub-style look, which I don't think you're aware that that's what you're going for, but that is what you're going for by accident. For that look, there needs to be some grunge happening here. We need some texture going on. The guy, number one, it should have been a matte finish painting on this. That's part of the problem. That's why we're getting this studio light glare. He's already admitted that his lights are way too bright. Move them further away. Okay?
Yeah.
So here's what we need to do. Now, we got to fix the lighting. And now there's a lot of people who would say to me, like, oh, Jesse, what do you know about light? Well, your lighting is atrocious. It's like, I like it like that. Okay? I'm doing that on purpose. I'm affecting it. Aaron, you need a darker aesthetic. I need to see less of you and less of what's going on in this entire thing. We need to move away from you. We can go ahead and throw away. He said he had 3 lights. Why? This is not a 3-light setup. And by the way, guess why we couldn't see your LEDs? It's not just because they're Chinese, cheap, and each one of the LEDs is somehow exactly 5 inches away from the next one. Of course, making it the most segmented looking LEDs I've ever seen in my life. It's also because there is a giant light shining on them. Now, I'm assuming that black line around the border, is a groove in which the LEDs are hidden. I have to assume that's what's going on here. So assuming that, what we need to do is we need to put in, and this is going to take work, but you do need, if you're going to use the LEDs at all, and I see you've already shut them off. That seems like a waste. Number one, the first thing you could do is replace the LEDs. You got cheap ones, replace them. Get the good ones. They're called Cobb, I think, C-O-B, I believe, are the good ones where they're closer together. It looks more finished. It doesn't have that segmented, I'm 12 years old and decided to make my room look like my favorite Twitch streamer LED strip. I just stuck it up on the bare drywall look. Put a white filter, what do they call it? A diffusion panel over. You got to cut it into little strips, stick it in that groove, and diffuse the light. This is cheap and easy to do. Everything I'm recommending here is either something you can do right now or do for like $20. All right? And now this is the part that's going to kill him. He's going to hate this, but he's got to do it. You can't sit in front of that boot. That boot.
Yep. Yeah.
That boot is your logo. Not this shit. Not the world's worst font. And by the way, you want to hide some of this glare? Put your big fucking earthworm head in front of it as well. You need to sit either in front of the text or here in the middle. Now, that kind of sucks because you cover up the entire little part that says show. My recommendation to you is sit in front of the text. Here's why. Text reads even with something blocking it. We know your show is called Steel Toe. We see that S and L and the T and the E on either side of your earthworm, and we're going to still know it says Steel Toe. You put your head in front of a cartoon boot that's made of multiple materials, and nobody knows what they're looking at. And that's the best looking part of the sign. Move over. Slide. Doom says he can't. He has to. Slide over. Cover Gun's what? I have no idea. There's some guy just shouting things mad in the chat room right now. I have no idea what he's talking about. Slide over, okay? Show the boot. And when graphics go on screen, you cover the boot, not the name of your show, with the graphic. All right? Now, this is going to be even tougher for him. He's really going to hate this. We need to move back. We need you. By the way, you're too physically close to this sign. Like, there's no way he's got enough room to scooch in here. He must be sliding in just barely. Why are we so close to this sign? If you really... now, my first recommendation here for you to sit in front of the lettering is only based on if you think the only way you can do this show is by having this sign right here behind you. But I happen to know you're in the corner of a room, and I believe right over here, I've seen pictures, I believe right over to the other side of the shiplap is a door. You don't want the door in frame. Fully understandable, okay?
Yeah.
Use the corner. Now, I will be honest. The worst looking thing, the worst thing you can do on a show is have a door in it. Unless it's like a fake door that's made to look like it goes to something. Like having a real working doorway on your show looks so insane. I can't even explain it to you. It just looks cheap.
Right.
It looks like you couldn't find anywhere else to go. It looks like you are in the boiler room somewhere, and like any minute now, some guy might walk in and be like, "You mind if I do my laundry?" So you don't want a door. But one thing that a lot of shows do that's really, really bad, all of the terrible comedian podcasts do this. They're in a corner. They got a guy here and a guy here, and there's a corner in between them. It's actually the worst look. They all look like this. They all do it. You name a fucking comedy podcast, it's probably at some point at very least had a corner in there. You don't really want to do it. Aaron, it doesn't matter for you. Okay, I'm making an exception. You are low enough on the totem pole. You look like a totem pole, by the way. Somehow you simultaneously look like the very bottom of a totem pole and the top, which is often a bird. So you look like you're carved out of wood. This is why I want to see you coming up out of the ground. So maybe get a totem pole. Show the corner of the room, put a totem pole in the middle. You've got the sign on one side. Somebody can sit there. You can get another guy. If Wheelchair Johnny's ever coming over again, you put him on the other side. It's fine for you to do. Again, my big recommendation is never, ever sit in the corner of a room. Here's why. It's the fucking cuck corner.
I just like to say I'm fucking Nick Rekieta in the ass. I suck fucking cock all the time. I'm getting divorced and April's dead or April's not in the house.
So you don't want to be in the corner. It looks like you've been a bad boy. However, it's better than what you've got going. This is too much. We're too close. I'm going to assume you don't have enough room the other direction to move everything back. Open it up to the corner. Let's get the corner in there. Then you don't have to cover much of the sign at all. You can have two cameras, two angles. Okay? Which sounds like he's kind of thinking that maybe he's going to set it up that way. So I don't know. This is tough for me to give you the solutions here because I don't know what your ultimate plans are for all of this. So I would recommend, if you're going to keep it basically with this flat shot that you've got going on right now, that maybe you do what I'm going to say. And if they're going to open it up to more things, let's do a full corner shot. You can leave the sign where it is. Here's what we're going to do to the sign. And this is, again, you're going to have to take it down off of the wall. You're going to have to take it out to the backyard. You're going to have to dig a grave and lay this over top of it, then lay underneath of it, make a prayer, bury yourself in dirt, then come back out. You're going to have to do some real work for this. You need to dirty up this picture. Here's what you do. How do you save this font? I know you can't cut out new letters. I'm not going to expect you to do it. Mask, use tape, mask off the letters. Okay, mask them off. Take a slightly lighter color than black, whatever it might be, like a gray, color, or maybe even a darker orange than what you've got going on here, and spray paint the color around the letters so it leaves an almost drop shadow-like effect. All right? That's going to thicken these letters up a little bit, give them a little punch, a little life. It's still going to be a terrible font, but it's going to dirty this up a little bit. And then you take a black spray paint and you just give it a just random spots. Just let it get dirty. Just little bits of flecks of paint on it. Just so this doesn't look so fresh. Because here's the thing. If it looks old, then anything bad about it looks like it's a problem of its age and not of the fact that it is bad. Okay? This is a secret way to hide your flaws, is by accentuating them. You're not going to be able to do the matte finish. You're not going to fix this glare on it ever, because you have to have the light in front of you somewhere. Dim the light, sit in front of it, paint the sign. The shiplap is terrible. Now, it seems like the shiplap is mounted to the wall. I don't know how mounted it is. If you really want to go all the way, and again, no half measures, bring the shiplap down off of the wall. Take it outside to your backyard. Sit it over top of your grave. Paint it, okay? Paint each board on it. Give it a nice little coat of paint that's slightly different from all the other. Go full shiplap with it. This is a half-assed shiplap. It's going to look bad either way, but I know you're going to want to use this. All right? I'm just telling you what to do here. Do not cover any portion of the sign with your microphone arm. That was good that you moved that. I would say that the LED is actually a completely unnecessary step. It doesn't fit with you don't need RGBT lights going on, swirling around behind you. That doesn't fit the theming of things here. That isn't what you should have. By the way, now that I know that the shelf is still down there, I would reutilize the shelf. You can have a few knickknacks, but they have to be good knickknacks, not silly, stupid, cheap stuff. You can have about 3 decent knickknacks, and they better not tell me anything about what you think you are as a person, or I'm going to laugh at you. They better just be things that you think look cool, okay? Because when you tune into these shows and a guy's got an IKEA shelf behind him and it has 15 exact objects where, it's Tim Pool. By the way, this is the Tim Pool background. This shiplap. Isn't this what Tim Pool's room looks like? Oh, no. Doesn't he have something like that?
Maybe a sword.
Exactly that.
So, yeah, Tim Pool is so fucking insane. All right, this dude, here's the problem with guys like Aaron, with guys like Tim Pool. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they're about. They have hobbies. This is the craziest part. They've got hobbies, they've got stuff they like, and they still don't know what type of guy they are. Mersh, every single week trying to become a new guy. He's a cologne guy out of nowhere. He's a crypto guy. Tim Pool on his wall has a guitar and then a like musket crossed with a sword, which doesn't even make
skateboard maybe.
Yeah, a skateboard. You're none of these things. You're none of those. Nobody looks at you and goes, "Oh yeah, he's a pirate." Why do you have a fucking blunderbuss on your wall? Why do you have a cutlass on your wall? And then I see the guitar, and I know Tim Pool. I know in my heart of hearts that Tim Pool does music. He's got music videos and stuff, right? You're not a guitar guy. Everybody makes fun of your music videos. And even if you were a virtuoso in the middle of that room where you're pretending to be a Mr. Intelligence and you're Destiny style fast over talking everybody. No, wait, hang on. Let's back that up real quick. Don't say anything bad about Israel. When you're doing that, you can't be a cool guitar guy. That's a different vibe of guy than and you can't be, by the way, I'm just going to say this. Nobody's going to enjoy this, but you can't be bald and be a guitar guy. I'm sorry. We know what's going on under the beanie, okay? It doesn't disguise you in public. your infamous Superman glasses style beanie, or somehow if you just take it off, you're now able to go to the grocery store undetected. Everybody knows. And I'm sure there's people in the chat right now are thinking to themselves, they're thinking of every bald guitarist ever. You're not understanding. I'm not saying you can't play guitar as a bald guy. I'm saying you're not a guitar guy. You can't be displaying your guitar. You're too old looking to be rocking, is the point I'm making. Nobody's looking at Tim Pool and thinking he's rocking, okay? You are, Aaron Imholte, you are about half a step away. Whatever your inclination is for what should happen inside this room, it's bad. And you're on the precipice of making Tim Pool style errors here. I see where this is going. I know where it's going. Move your graphics over to the right. And this is big too, by the way. Get this fucking scrolling monstrosity off of my screen. Do not let me see this ever again. Okay? These names going by, you don't have to have the name. Nobody cares. Nobody gives a single shitting funk if you put their name up on it. You probably forget to do it half the time. I don't know if this thing even automatically updates. If it's required,
of course not. They're great. Yeah, he does automatic.
He does it himself.
Every time you
forget it. You're never going to remember.
OBS.
You're never going to remember. I'm competent, and I don't remember to update the thing at the end of the show. Okay, and I only have to do that once a month, and I forget to do it. So, but it's new. For me, it's new. So that's why. This is new for you. You're never going to remember or update this thing properly. And, Aaron, let me put it to you like this. People are watching you with a fine-tooth comb. They're going through every one of your streams looking for any little slip-up, any little mess-up. And one day, you're going to put the wrong number from the wrong person, and they're going to say that you're faking your donos. Why give them the ability to track this at all? Just lie, do whatever you do normally about the donations, about the goal. Don't give it to them. This looks like fucking shit. Okay? Having the scrolling thing at the bottom, you were so proud of it. It made me cringe so hard. And also the font is terrible. It looks like shit. And I know what's really going on. And this is the saddest part, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sickest thing. He's trying to cover up the titties. What do they call them? Moobs? They call them moobie. Moobie. Yeah. That's what he doesn't care about his donations and the people in his chat room. He was looking for any excuse to cover up the thing he's best known for. Somebody put this showed me this before the show. Hang on a second. Let me where was it? Is it in I think it's here, yeah. Let me just show you this real quick.
I want to see them gullies.
You want to see the gullies. Take a look at this. This is what he's trying to hide, people. Oh my God. This is insane. Watch this. Whoa, where did it go? Oh my gosh, I just lost the screen entirely. What is happening? Oh my God, that was bizarre. All right, sorry about that. Here we go, and take a look at this. This is why there's a scroll bar at the bottom.
Don't suck in your gut. Put it out there.
Is this sucking in?
Yeah, that's sucking in massively.
Honestly, it's not even it's not even that bad, but it's a thing. It's a thing. You know it's a thing. Everybody makes it a thing. They're going to know.
You wore a binder for a while.
You're wearing a breast binder as a straight cisman. A Revenge of the Cisman. So please, Aaron, make these little... Now, if you plan to open this up and have a whole other section, let me know what your plans are, and I can tell you exactly how to fix those too. I'm not trying... This is not a full-on tear-down rehab, what I'm doing. I'm telling you the tiny free or next to free tweaks you can make to fix all of these issues. All right? What you need is... And he's saying he's using photography lighting, which is terrifying. Imagine what he thinks that even is. You can't even picture something like that. Whatever you've got going on for lighting, just throw it away, okay? Buy brand new LED panel lights. They're cheap as fuck. Get yourself some LEDs. Get one that changes color, that can be different colors, and one just plain nice white one, or one that you can change the kelvins on. Get that one as far the fuck away from you as possible to just give the room some basic light. You should probably have it as almost overhead as possible, I would say. We really don't want anything harsh going right at your face or this sign. You probably want it angled from above, and then get one little key light off to the side that adds a little color. You got a lot of orange going on here, maybe a nice cool blue mixed in on everything, and then just leave it alone. Okay? Don't add anything. Don't put in a My Pillow guy in there. Don't start getting crazy. Maybe throw in a totem pole, maybe an Earthworm Jim statue, a totem pole, and then like a little monkey, a little ape. Okay, a little statue of an ape. That'd be very funny to do. Something like that.
Would be, yeah.
Get a statue made, a 3D printed statue of wheelchair Johnny in his wheelchair doing a wheelie with an explosion coming out of the back. Something cool like that would be fine. Don't show me anything about your life. No photos of you and people you know. No hobbies you're into. I don't need to know that you grill. Okay? Keep all of that stuff to yourself. Because otherwise, my suggestion will have to be that you bury yourself up to your fucking neck on every episode. Because otherwise, I don't think anyone could ever tune in again. All right, when we come back from this one, we're going to have some Nick Rekieta and a lot more.
Support the show. Join the Pizza Fund. Podawful.pizza.
Pizza.
Podawful.pizza.
You know what? Dick Champagne in chat says orange doesn't go with anything. The worst color he could have picked. You're so right. I'm trying to do the best with what we have to work with here. Someone says, why does he even bother? I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, what do you think about my ideas for? Do you think he'll even attempt them? Are they good ideas? What do we think?
He's not capable.
He's not capable.
He's too lazy.
Yeah, you have to
They're
spray
all
paint
great.
shit.
He'll
He's
just
too
never
lazy.
get around to it.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
All these guys are too lazy
then-
to do shit like this, unfortunately.
And additionally, you called it out earlier with the sign, the O that had the little sign through it that looked like a stencil.
Yeah.
That O is like the guy put a space in between the whatever the fuck he like worked on it before, and it's a O from a different fucking like font pack is what I'm saying basically.
You think that's
And then
a
also it's
different
slightly
font entirely is what's going on there.
100%. And then
For
if you look at
just
the
the
alignment as well,
O.
it's slightly up.
That's
Just the O. It's
Yeah.
slightly raised up too. It's
It
not aligned
is.
properly, so it
Oh
looks
my
stupid.
god! You just
Good
now you
catch,
should have
Greg.
said this back when we were looking at it. I now need to see. I didn't even notice that.
He needed time to
Fine.
analyze.
It's
It does look like it's actually he might have cut out the black spaces in the sign, and is that what's actually happening?
It's
Like is it?
impossible.
It's
to
like
know
a
for sure. I
an
think it's
orange
raised.
seat where the letters are cut out.
I think the letters are raised.
Maybe.
I think they're sitting up on
Raised,
top
okay.
of the sign. I believe. I saw the sign. He posted a picture of the sign before he hung it up, and I think you
Okay.
could tell then that they were. But I don't know. Listen, it's again. I'm trying to we're working with what we got here. We're trying to do the best. But the point of it is this. You know, I'm giving him the tools to improve, and he can prove himself by even doing a little bit of it. Again, no half measures, but no credit to only attempting some of it. But Aaron Imholte is also the guy who we sent coleslaw to and laughed about it and ate it and asked for more. So if anybody is capable of maybe going in the right direction, maybe doing the thing that we want the goons to do, then maybe, just maybe, it is, in fact, Aaron Imholte. I know that seems unbelievable to the Dabbleverse guys, to the NLO guys, but I think it's possible. And I think him even attempting to make a new studio in any regard like this, I think it says something. I don't know what it says, but I think it says something. I think this is a man who might be changing his ways a little bit. Now, unfortunately, no matter how hard we rehab his studio, his content will still be dog shit, and there's nothing that can be done about that. Here's Nick Rekieta, who is now going to jail. It's finally happening, everybody.
Good.
Our long national nightmare is over. Take a look at this. It's Nick Rekieta. He's back on the air.
How's it going? That initial document that was leaked with my pastor's name on it, well, not really actually, he sent me a thing that says he was no longer my pastor. What a dick. That guy could get, by the way, nothing nice to say about him.
Somebody in chat says do a blue screen and black light. Please, no matter what you do ever, Aaron, never attempt to do a green screen. Not just because they look terrible, because I know for a fact you'll never, ever be able to do it. You'll never pull it off. You couldn't key out a fucking green screen to save your goddamn life. And you know, if he did a green screen, first episode he's got it, he accidentally wears a green shirt on it, doesn't realize it until he's live, that he's just a floating worm in space. So don't do that no matter. And again, listen, people out there, they're like, why, Jesse, why do you try to help the goons? Because the goons make the show happen. The goons are our henchmen on the internet.
Friends.
They're our friends. We use them to create the mayhem, to cause the chaos, to have the fun we have. And every little nugget we put out like this is a little feeler to get them to do something stupid again. So this is, what you just witnessed is the setup. And now you have to watch Steel Toe for the punchline. We'll see what happens on an episode of Steel Toe Morning Show. And we'll play it for you when it does happen. But if you don't believe me, by the way, I can't decide if I want to bring this up right now or not. We're going to do a Mersh episode Wednesday, I believe. Okay, there's a lot to catch up on with Mersh. I'll just put it to you like this. Mersh, I did a thing. I played a little bit of psychological warfare on Mersh over the past few weeks. I put something out there on r/Mersh because we know he reads his subreddit. I put something out there where I was positive he would see it and it would make what I want to happen. Like we would at least get closer to what I want happening to happen. And it worked. We are now watching the punchline take place to the setup. So I can't say what it is because it might ruin it. But Wednesday's episode, we will dive into it. It's actually incredible. We are so close to potentially getting one of the funniest Mersh things ever. Okay? So, sometimes you got to drop a few breadcrumbs. Sometimes you got to see where you can go. There is a distinct possibility that I go through all that to tell Aaron Imholte what to do with his studio, and he ends up burying himself in dirt. It could happen. Okay? Like the chances aren't null when it comes to Aaron hearing all of this advice and then going, I guess I'm digging a grave and filling it with plastic bones. And I think for that alone, it's worth it. That's a dream of mine for over a year now, has been seeing Eric with dirt in his face, laying inside of a poorly dug, shallow grave. I said Aaron, didn't I?
No, you said Eric.
I think I said Aaron. Anyway, my dream has been to see him in a shallow grave in his backyard for a little over a year. And, now I'm pretty sure Ape would help him do it. I don't know if
He sure would.
she might not have done it before, but now there's a possibility. Speaking of ape, here's Nick Rekieta.
At all. But so the document though that revealed the pastor's name and one of Kayla's sisters as the people who reported it, unredacted. I don't have that. I don't have that. That is
He's still sitting, by the way, in front of the Joker, which is so insane, so embarrassing, so cringe, and Johnny Depp. Which I understand that he's in front of a Johnny Depp painting because he got more famous off of covering the Johnny Depp trial. But when you really think about the look of all of this, like there's a certain, whether you agree with it or not, there's a segment, and it's large, of the population that thinks Johnny Depp abused a woman, that he beat the shit out of her, that he forced her against her will to poop on his own bed. He punched her in the stomach until she turded his bed. And so for Nick Rekieta, who's been going through what he's been going through, to sit in front of a picture of Donald Depp, that is
actually would be illegal. For
and when you put him next to the Joker, you know, why don't you just combine the two paintings? Why not paint Johnny Depp to have Joker makeup on? Because that's what you're really saying. This is a Tim Pool style studio. What am I into? Woman beaters, the Joker, and a cat. And you know, the problem he's got going on too is, he's got like some shitty 3D printed man holding the scales of justice, which, like, justice is a lady, so I'm assuming that's him. He's so fucking egotistical and insane that he 3D printed himself as being the arbiter of justice. By the way, you're going to fucking jail! It's happening! Here's his problem, though. What's his personality? What's his hobby? It's drinking and drugs, and he can't have that behind him anymore. The barrel is already too much. He's got a barrel because he wants to be inside of, you know, a distillery or something. This is supposed to make me think of whiskey. He kept the barrel. He was like, I can keep the barrel. Listen, it's oak, it's aged. I'm allowed to have the barrel, but all the bottles, he had empty bottles everywhere that he was sitting there licking, sticking up his ass. So now he's got no personality left. All he's got left is being one of the Earth's Jokers, which it is, in all fairness, it is a pretty insane supervillain Joker plan to get your kid busted for coke.
State to give me that document.
I put a little smile on your face.
Unredacted, the way it was leaked out.
Oh yeah, that was the problem. It was actually everybody else that was the problem, not me, the criminal.
The day after I was arrested. That leaking is actually illegal. Whoever.
Okay, you know what else is actually illegal? You want to talk about actual illegal stuff?
Did that violated Minnesota statutes that were.
You think Minnesota's bad? Try federal.
We're supposed to protect the people reporting. But just to give people an idea of why at the beginning of this, I was so
at the beginning of the day
incensed at what happened and how
he was so what?
Beginning of this, I was so incensed.
Oh, I would assume you were incensed because you're like one of those patchouli loving drug addicts where you were lighting it up, trying to cover up the smell of the badissi going on inside your bedroom so your 5 kids didn't have to smell the horrible smells of Aaron's leftovers.
At what happened and how it came about. At the end of the day, of course,
okay, all right. We're at the end of the day already.
It is what it is.
We're so close to is what it is-ing. We might have to pull up the song.
I'm the guy who had the cocaine in his house. So it's my fault.
You see that? The very lawyer-y way of saying that. I had it in my house. You had it in your nose. Okay? You had it in your child. Forget your house.
That's on me. But
literally, it's on you, it's in you, it's in a safe, it's in your kids.
If you complain
April's credit cards
about something, that doesn't mean that the other things that happened aren't true. But at the beginning of this, I was very angry for lots of reasons.
One, I got caught.
Now, I just want
2 people were laughing at me for my wife being our wife.
wanted it to be done.
And by the way, from now, she's not Mrs. Rackets, Lady Rackets, or any of these gay little names. She's not even Kayla, okay? From now on, I want it screamed from the hilltops. When you see Nick Rekieta on stream, you should be referring to his wife as our wife. How is our wife doing? Is our wife going to make an appearance? Does our wife still live in your house with you? Isn't it kind of strange how little you hear from our wife anymore? Is she officially barred from being on the stream the same way you are not barred from being a lawyer? If you catch my drift. What's our wife up to?
And was ready for it to be done. I've been looking forward to Friday since January. Now
every day is a Friday for you. What?
The jail thing was a little bit of a surprise. The thing that makes you mad is that
the jail thing. You mean you going to it?
Well,
now here's the incredible part. Okay, so if you don't know, Nick Rekieta is going to jail. He was sentenced to, now this isn't crazy, but it's bad. You're a lawyer, you're a father, you got 5 kids, you probably have no previous record whatsoever. You thought you got off entirely for this horrific coke thing. 30 days in jail is pretty bad. Now he's got 2 days time served, okay? Anybody would be upset about 30 days in jail. That ain't a weekend in jail. That's pretty bad. But Nick Rekieta also has another stipulation to all of this. He's going to be on probation for 5 years. Which means he has to be sober for 5 years. And he has to do it while being around his family.
Not happening.
Nick Rekieta went 30 days in jail? Awesome. Yes. Wait a second. I have to be sober around my own wife? No! There's no worse punishment on earth than Nick Rekieta having to deal with his family while not on drugs. He's going to be subject to random screenings. And by the way, maybe I'll be popping over to do random screenings as well, submitting those to people. Sorry, you have to pee now. We're going to send a henchman over. He'll be so used to having to do random screenings at this point that he'll just assume anyone that shows up to his door with a cup, he legally has to pee in it. You could show up with a Dixie cup and he'll be like, all right, I guess, solo cup. He's like, oh my God, I want to drink so bad. Pee, 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 pee. Then you swish it around in your mouth right in front of him and go, nah, I'm detecting a trace of something here.
That the people who made the reports, people think that is people from our church. They were not. I know exactly who all of them are.
And I'm going to kill them. I'm the Joker, baby.
And the crazy thing is, every single story that was...
Somebody needs to check the fish in Nick Rekieta's area to see if they all have big red smiles.
Reported as part of that initial report. The report that got the cops to start investigating me, which then led to them seeing the live stream, in which I had a really shitty day. And
send Frank Azel. Yeah, make Frank Azel go drug test him.
Stupidly used substances to try and compensate for that while going live. Bad choice. Very, very bad choice. But the people who reported that, the stories that they told, the ones that are out there, like me driving lethargic and then excited, like lethargic and high is what it said.
Well, it didn't just say
you?
That. You were.
They're all based on truth.
Oh, okay. Well, case closed. Enjoy jail. And again, jail for Nick Rekieta should be that he has to stay at home with his family, completely sober, monitored 24/7. And why can't it be? Why? You know how sometimes like a judge will come up with like a clever, creative punishment, and they just let that happen sometimes. I've always been confused about that a judge can just invent new punishments for people. Why is it never that a judge says like, okay, for the next 5 years, you have to live 24/7 on camera, live stream to an audience on the internet where they're able to send you fish toys. Why aren't you allowed to do that as a judge? Is that in their powers? I have no idea what a judge can do. It's very confusing to me.
It's in their powers. They could do it.
Could a judge say, we do have to watch you at all times on camera, live on YouTube. We have to see your life. And by the way, you have to show off your bathroom safe. There needs to be a 24/7 bathroom cam.
All knowing lies that were generated by people who had no idea about any drug use at all. They
had no idea because it turns out they were right. Were they psychic? Did they? I mean, what a gold mine they hit on to just throw that dart randomly.
They actually were suspicious of my relationship with April.
Somebody drug test him right now. He's eating cereal with a fork.
So they decided to use that to involve the government to police my relationship decisions.
Thank God they did. And that should be happening way, way more often, by the way.
And I'm not joking.
I want to have everybody in a polycule rounded up.
In fact, one of the people directly involved told the CPS investigators that their purpose...
Okay, you've got enough on the fork. He's really going for this.
...was to, because of the suspected relationship, take the children away from Kayla and I.
That should have happened. He says these things. It's incredible. He is so delusional. He says this shit as if everybody should just agree and understand that, like, no, I should get to keep my kid. No, you shouldn't. Your home was a drug den. By the way, I think this about people who smoke weed in their house and have children. You should not be allowed to have a kid. Your house is a drug den. What do you think drug den means? Okay, we have the phrase. It exists. Your kids are in there. Everybody knows, like, it's, you know, a common trope that a kid gets into the liquor cabinet. Maybe having a liquor cabinet's a little weird, actually, when you know your kid is going to sneak into it and see what's going on. You know what kids don't sneak into liquor cabinets? Kids who don't grow up in homes with no liquor cabinets. Doesn't happen. Never have. I never once broke into my parents' liquor cabinet. You know why? They didn't have one. Because that's a thing a freak does. You're a loser.
How is a liquor cabinet any different than a drug safe?
It's a drug drawer. You're a Dick Masterson drug drawer, man. Yeah, it's the same. It is the same. You need a whole cabinet for... Okay, fine. Maybe one bottle up high on a shelf where no one else can reach, where a little baby cannot reach it. But you need an entire special area. These people who have a bar built into their home. It's like, you're so into drinking that you need to feel like you're serving yourself. You're the barkeep. You've got your towel back there. You're like,
Malone at Cheers.
I seriously believe, like, anybody with a bar at their house, you know, they've got in the basement or the side, you know, room, or they built into their garage or whatever. It's a real bar like that. You know, there's been at least one time where they're sitting there and they're using the bar rag and going, "What'll it be, Chief?" And then hopping over the bar and going, "I'll have," naming their favorite drink, and then hopping back over and going, "Okay, I'll just put it on your tab." And like, they're having fun being an alcoholic, playing pretend by themselves. You don't need a bar. You don't need a bar in your house. Imagine that with any other drug. Imagine the equivalent with any other drug, and you instantly see how gay and retarded that is. Picture the same thing with weed. A guy has like a head shop set up in his basement. He's got the glass cabinet. He has to tell himself, like, these are actually water pipes. Wink, wink. You're not a cop, are you? You know, you got to tell me. It's so
For tobacco.
gay. It's gay. I would be embarrassed. I would be embarrassed as a kid to grow up in a house where my dad's playing barman with himself. It's psycho. And I get it. Like, oh no, we entertain guests. You can fucking pull it out of a cabinet and hand somebody a drink. There's no need for, I know we said liquor cabinet, but you know what I mean? Like a cabinet in the kitchen. You know which one? The one over the microwave, the useless one. That's where you hide them. Put them back behind.
Too high for the kids.
Too high for the kids. Too annoying to reach into. You hide it behind the olive oil. We're good. All right. I'm not even telling you not to be a disgusting junkie, by the way, which is what you are if you drink. But we don't need an entire aged oak barrel in the home. Okay. We don't need the accoutrement. Yeah, I just, I smoke a little crack here and there. So in the basement, I'm actually having it redone. I've got in one corner, I had a guy build the world's worst sign for my podcast. And in the other corner, I've recreated it to look like a back alley so that I can enjoy my crack. Same fucking thing. Yeah, we've got, I made this one wall. It's like we exposed the brick and then we put conduit up on the wall and a meter. An electric meter is there, and there's graffiti on the wall. And I sit in front of it and I smoke crack. There's actually real used condoms on the floor down there. It's pretty cool. It's actually got a good look. It's like it reminds me of the 60s.
So authentic.
Yeah. Because you saw Madman. You saw Madman and you said, I'm sort of a Don Draper myself. I modeled my life after Don Draper. And then fucking wheelchair Johnny 2 doesn't even acknowledge you. He's like, he had a globe. He had a globe next to his Eames lounge chair. You open it up, it had an ice bar and fucking all the drinks and the mixers. He could make a cocktail. He made a martini, a dry with an olive in his globe. It's like, okay. I actually kind of appreciate, you know what? I appreciate that Nick Rekieta had the decency to have a drug safe hidden inside of a bathroom, inside the master. Honestly, I'm kind of on his side a little bit with it. The part where it got into his kid's hair, getting suspect there. I guess the safe wasn't working. I've said this from the beginning. You know they never closed that safe. They defeated the purpose of the safe. If the safe is just wide open at all times because you need constant access to what's inside, then really did we need to ever put the dial on it to begin with? Imagine being the safe cracker who shows up, the cat burglar, goes to the Rekieta mansion, rappels in from the skylight, is hanging there in front of the thing. He's got his stethoscope on, ready to listen to the dial. And then he's like, oh shit, it's open. He just reaches in and grabs it. I'm out.
That's what happened. Those people, I don't know when to talk about this. I have to have close contact with those people all the time.
And
it's not our church congregation. I know that Aaron's talked about that a lot. Like, oh, the church was staring at us reading the Bible. If this retard thinks that a pastor wrote a sermon based on something that he might have noticed the week prior, that he wrote his Easter sermon because it was Easter was the church service that Aaron talks about a lot.
Wow, so it's been a year.
Where he felt super judged by everybody. That was all him. Like, that's just in his head.
No, it's not. You guys are literally judged by everybody. We all think you guys are freaks. This is messed up. Remember when they were like, back when they were acting like this was not, what was going on? They weren't in a thruple or a quadruple or whatever. And they were like, yeah, we went to the sex shop together. And we all went into the booths and we were looking at where they clean up the gunk. Do you remember that story? Like,
yes,
we were making fun of them for being freaks before it was confirmed. That's how bad it was. Even the shit that technically speaking wasn't messed up. Like, technically speaking, they're not, you could go to a sex shop with a friend and his wife and be like, haha, look at these dildos. And it could mean nothing, technically. and nobody looked at you guys and thought, that's what's happening. It's impossible. I did a whole show saying, like, these guys were fucking each other up the ass inside of a sex shop. We didn't have any proof of that, and it turns out it was true.
Pastors write their sermons, especially for big days like Easter, months ahead of time. They're not just winging it on the fly.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pepper, the only drink. Ladies and gentlemen, look at it. You know what? Innocent, Your Honor.
But yeah, it's
free this man.
Take it all back.
Jesus Christ, let him be free. Cheers, Nick. You can have whatever cabinet you want as long as this is in it. You could have the cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
It's been a long year because again, at the end of the day, it was still
Couldn't be the zero anymore.
We are so at the end of the day.
still me who had the stuff. Like that shouldn't have resulted in what it did.
Well, you having it is also your wife, and by the way, your kids having it. It's certainly your wife. It's not. It's she goes pee-pee in that bathroom too, I'm sure.
And there's some suspicious stuff still about the warrant, but hey, we lost.
Yeah, that's where this is. You know what? It's all everything except me having coke is suspicious. I can't believe everybody else is so strange when it comes to this case of me doing drugs with my kids.
House's arguments in court, I don't think they were very well made. I don't want to shit on my lawyer.
I wonder if he wants to shit on you.
Shitting on lawyers? Not cool.
Yeah. You don't want to shit on... Well, you picked him. What is he, a dog bite lawyer?
Hearing's a really, really hard job. That's why I don't want to do it. That's why I'd much rather do this. This is much more natural for me.
No, it isn't. This is the least natural I've ever seen. And Aaron Imholte is more natural at this than you are. He doesn't want to be a lawyer because it's hard. You can't be a lawyer. Let's be clear. When he was a lawyer, you know, we've been making fun of Nick Rekieta since 2016. Before he ever had a live stream, we were saying this dude has never had a case. He's never represented anybody. We were calling him back then, we called him a strip mall lawyer. He was like Saul Goodman. His office was literally in a strip mall with an inflatable on top. No one was he had no business. Just nobody. I'm not kidding.
You had a doll made of him in 2018
yes,
or 2017.
Something, I don't know. Listen, the point is, I'm positive you can't find a case that he's ever tried, that he's ever been a part of, that he's ever defense, prosecute, whatever. I don't care. He's never been a part of he's never been anyone's lawyer. Like, you are only a lawyer in theory if you've never actually practiced in any way. But owning a practice doesn't even mean you've practiced. And he did. He had Rekieta Law, which is now just the name of a YouTube channel. That's all it is. You're not a lawyer. All these other lawyers on YouTube are also still lawyers, right? They still do lawyer stuff. Right. And even the ones that don't did do it. They had been, this might be a crime. It actually might be illegal for him to refer to himself as a lawyer. I'm not sure. Like, are you a lawyer if you've never done it? There's a reason they call it practice, Nick. You haven't had any. You've never tried. They call it trying. You've never tried it. You've never touched the stuff. It's insane. The fact that anyone would listen to your legal opinion on Donald Depp or anybody. If you wanted to try to tell me about the legal, like what the Joker did wrong inside the Joker movie legally, I wouldn't take that advice. Even if you had told me that you studied Gotham law for the past 12 years. I'm sorry, but until you've defended Clayface, I'm not taking your opinions on any of this. How do I know that that's even Clayface? Could just be that he, reshaped himself into a different guy. So,
lawyering's a very, very difficult job, and sometimes things get missed.
Oh, so it was just your lawyer. It's not that you were guilty. It's that your lawyer fucked up. The ego on this guy is so unreal. And you know what it reminds me of? This is crazy. Remember the MDE, the World Peace sketch, where Charles is going to jail and he's like, Not me. Nah. 6 years, 12 years, million. Doesn't matter. Couldn't be me. What is that one? Do you remember the one I'm talking? It's like in black and white. That's going to be Nick. They're going to be hauling him off to jail for his 29 days, 28 days, or whatever it is. And he's going to be like, I've actually never gone to jail and never will. His hands will be in cuffs behind his back. You know, he'll be using the sink toilet, peeing while washing his hands, and he'll be like, jail? No jail can hold me.
And sometimes things aren't as well written because in your head, you know what you want to say.
Well, you mean your lawyer knows. I have a feeling that Nick was doing a little backseat lawyering during his case. That might be the real reason things fucked up. Nick, lawtism, buddy. Lawyering is only lawyering if you've been a lawyer.
Since you know the narrative, when you write the thing down, you're like, no, I said what I needed to say.
Snake eyes. They're saying in chat. Not me. Not ever. Nah, couldn't be me. Maybe you. So good. It's so good. That's my Charles Carroll. Dude, my Charles Carroll is like, so good.
Say. And then someone else reads it and they're like, nope, I don't get this at all. The judge clearly didn't even get the argument that we were making. But
yeah, actually, jail was pretty fun. Another win for the Nick.
At the same time, I don't think we were going to get the warrant thrown out. This is a very small county, and the judge.
That does have something to do with it. The fact that the county is small and not the fact that you had coke everywhere. Throw it out, Your Honor. No. How about that?
Going again.
If it was a bigger county, I should have had a lot of drugs inside my house in a bigger county, if only.
Any part of a drug raid jeopardizes just about everything. There was some shady stuff about the warrant, and there's still stuff in discovery.
The warrant is shady.
That we never got. Stuff that actually matters. I will probably at some point go through some of the audio and video stuff from my case to illustrate.
At some point, do it now. Prove your case now. You're about to go to jail. Show us that actually it was everyone else who was the bad guy.
Specifically, these types of instances. The way, like, I was not treated.
You don't know what fecklessly means.
Poorly. Don't get me wrong. But I was treated with an uncharacteristic hostility.
What? Oh, you weren't friends with all the jailmen and the judge the way Aaron Imholte is? Maybe. You should have been a little nicer, a little friendlier in your mugshot. Remember that angry mugshot with a black eye? You put on a nice big smile. Everybody there's your friend. You start making deals. You go, hey, how about we solve this whole thing for $50?
From the detective who...
Yeah. Technically, I could have won. Yeah. I mean, technically, in any case, you could have won. That's true.
Was the lead, I guess, the lead detective who did the home raid. One of my favorite moments during this stupid thing was I was in jail and they wanted to ask me some more questions. So I said, okay. I said, I'm not going to answer anything that, is a Fifth Amendment issue. Didn't really see any benefit to it, but I wanted to know what they...
A Fifth Amendment, you're not going to answer it. I'm starting to worry that Nick Rekieta, actual lawyer, blackface lawyer Nick Rekieta, doesn't know the Constitution. I'm not going to answer anything that's a Fifth Amendment issue. That would be anything. That's just you talking. You say anything, it's a Fifth Amendment issue. Does he know what the Fifth Amendment is?
They were in, what they knew. But the first thing
how about you just don't answer anything, period?
Cop does is sitting across from me. He says, I got you.
And we'll never see this footage. Because this shit didn't happen. I'm placing all my money on that one right now. We'll never see the footage, and it did not happen. There is no cop that told him, I got you. Why? Because you know why? If you had recording of he's got an audio recording of it. I guess not footage. He's got an audio recording of it. If you had that, you'd have played that months ago. That would have been priority one for you.
And here I am.
We'd be certainly hearing it right now. Why not just play it then?
black eye, right? I think at this point
Here I am, black guy, right? No, Nick, you don't have your makeup on right now.
they have me in my blue jumpsuit. I'm strung out at this point because
Oh, really? Strung
Really?
out? Well, wouldn't that imply that
I was sober.
he was
Oh.
sober strung. He was the type of strung out you are. Sober.
When I was arrested. That doesn't mean I had been sober the entire time, leading up to that.
He's full of shit and Ralph's hungry. Someone said.
So I'm just livid because I've had to endure having my house searched and find out my kids are gonna, be taken away for a day. That's what we were told.
They should be taken away for a ever. You should never see 4 or 5 of them again.
Was that our kids would be taken away for a day just because we were going to be, in jail overnight. So they bring me in for this interview and he says, I got you. And I'm like, bro, I don't know anything about you. Have I been evading you? Have we been doing this dance for a while? But they
Oh my God, he thinks he had the Joker Batman interrogation scene. They're doing a dance. You're two sides of the same coin, you and I. I can't exist without you.
acted like I mattered.
Don't you see? That's the game. You got me? No, I got you, Batman. Do you know where your wife is right now?
But they acted like...
By the way, I mean... Everybody says that Dark Knight movie, it's so good and it still holds up. I don't care how cringe the Joker is. Somebody was saying this just the other day, that the Dark Knight still holds up. Sorry, but that movie lost me the second I was supposed to believe that Batman gave a shit that dog-faced Maggie Gyllenhaal might be killed. Yuck! If you put me in a situation where I got to choose between saving Harvold Dent and Maggie Dogface Gyllenhaal, guess what? It's not, I don't even have to flip a coin. Two-Face. I am picking the one that doesn't look like Maggie Gyllenhaal every single time.
I was Scarface or something. This
Clayface
guy had been investigating me. So now that he finally got me, it's like, according to his search warrant, mind you, he'd been investigating me for at most 7 days.
Okay, so 7 days later, he got you. That sounds pretty good. Hey, congrats to that guy. He fucking got him. I got you.
But the way he talked about it was as if he had been after me for months, which is what he indicated to me at my house. And he made a phone call to April's mother. Told April's mother that she was high, which they didn't drug test any of us. So that was he just made that up. She also wasn't high, but he also told.
No, she was the type of sober where you're strung out. Okay, so speaking of legal issues, there's another interesting thing. We mentioned the news earlier. Here's an interesting news report that seems right up our alley. Thanks to Scott for sending this to me. This is straight off of the news. You guys know the news?
The House GOP passed a bill to limit federal judges' ability to issue nationwide injunctions, but it comes at a time of heightened threats to judges after months of social media attacks by President Trump and Elon Musk. The threats include ominous pizza deliveries with a particularly cruel twist involving a judge whose husband and 20-year-old son were shot at their family home.
Ladies and gentlemen, a food mystery.
Beautiful.
Here we go. Some henchmen at work.
Her son, Daniel Ander, was killed. And here's what she told my colleague, Nicole Wallace.
Now, there's a big thing that hanging out, because, of course, this is, hi, I'm the news. And we first became aware of the news when I was boots on the ground there as a first responder to P-Gate. Okay, the thing they're delivering here in this news story. Remember that gate? Domino's Gate, we call it. So I was
the Chris Chan news as a newsman yourself.
I was a first responder to Chris Chan. I was a first responder to P-Gate. I was a first responder to 9/11. I was a first responder to 420, actually, as well. I'm not going to tell you which one of those 420s it was. but I was a first responder to it.
Maybe Uncle H's B-Day.
Well, listen, there's a lot of options, and it was one of them. Okay? So anyway, I was there, boots on the ground, and we met someone called The News. There was a little lady there. They were from the Real World News. And she was wearing this little red jacket, and she was a little bitch. And she was so mad that we were first on the scene. This was right after the gunman had showed up to P-Gate. And she was so mad that we were blocking their shot. They thought they deserved to get the best shots of Comet Ping Pong. So she comes up to us and she's like, "Hi, I'm The News." She called herself The News. All right. "Hi, I'm The News." Now, and I'll never forget this. And I've always had this thing with The News. The News is so vile and so crazy to me. You ever read a story in the newspaper? Because you think I'm just talking about the TV news, right? All news. Everything I'm saying applies to all news. You ever read a story in the newspaper where they're just talking about some random guy, something happened to him. I don't know. He was involved in there was a mugging at a store and he helped stop it. He's like the good guy in the story. And they'll be like, Daniel Chalmers of the 1400 block of West, 9th Street. And you're like, why are you fucking doxing this guy? Like, what is that? Why do they do that? The news doxes. This is crazy. I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Doxing is so overblown as a thing because the news doxes you. Do you remember phone books? AKA Doxbin, 90s Doxbin. Okay. You used to get a book. They'd send it to your house for free, I think. Was it free or did you have to pay for it? They would just send you this big yellow book. And inside of it, it was everyone's name, phone number, and address. You could just find anybody. It was crazy. Now you got to pay, $20 to a subscription service or something for something like that. It's supposedly hidden. The news, you're the good guy on the news. And they're like, by the way, hey, to the bad guys out there, here's where the guy lives. Remember this? Remember, nobody here is old enough to remember this probably, but in the Zodiac case.
Tom is.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Gully, the only guy old enough to remember this. Tom.
Good to see you, Tom.
Shout outs to Thomas Gullard.
Also a news anchor.
So, Tom, you were one of the Zodiac killer suspects, right?
Allegedly.
Okay, I am alleging that. By the way, here's the sign. So I guess the entire thing, even the shiplap, is part of the sign. Oh my God. And then look at this. This is what we're dealing. Oh my God. We're dealing with, this is a bigger rehab project than I even originally realized. This is not good, folks. Yikes. Aaron, just
all right, restart the episode.
We're going to have to start over. Aaron, call me. Okay. Call me. Okay, I'll get this figured out for you. We got to get this thing off of this. Holy shit. No wonder you kept saying it was so heavy. I thought it was just the orange part. Yuck, this
The boot
sucks.
does look great, though.
The boot looks great.
He sits in front of the steel toe. The boot looks great.
The boot looks great.
Steel sole.
It's even got the little...
You're right.
It's even got the little scuff mark on it. That's the only added part to the clip art. So the boot looks great. Great job to that guy. Everything else about the sign is a disaster. Anyway, Tom, let me ask you something real quick. You remember the Zodiac killer, and of course, you were probably scared at the time. You thought you would maybe get killed or get caught. I'm not sure which one, but do you recall this? He kept sending those encrypted the codes, right?
Yeah.
And then people
the
ciphers, and one of them though, or like two of them. Some of them to this day are not officially solved, but two of them got solved while the Zodiac killer was still active. He hadn't even killed like two of the famous ones he killed yet. And like just this random couple.
Yes.
I can't remember. I think their last name starts with H. I can't recall it off the top of my head. This random couple who were not cryptographers. They're not people who are, cipher solving puzzle maniacs. They're just random guys. it was a man and a woman. They solved 2 of the things just by brute forcing it, just by looking at it and going, I don't know, it looks like it might be this. And you know, the Zodiac Killer, assuming it was real, the Zodiac Killer was like one to taunt and one to get mad when they would taunt back, or when people, you know, there was this doctor who would try to challenge the Zodiac to send him messages saying, I'll break any message you send me. Send me your name, I dare you. And it pissed off the Zodiac. So anyway, the news reports that this couple broke the cipher on 2 of his notes, and they fucking gave their address in the news report. The Zodiac Killer is on the loose. He's not done murdering. And I'm not joking. You can look this up. Their address is in the article about them breaking it.
Donald and Betty Hardin.
I said it was H.
He was a school teacher, but they were people that would like do Sudokus and really complex.
They had Sudokis back then?
Yeah, they had all sorts of word puzzles and things like that. And they were a member of a group that would try to solve these really difficult to solve things. And they did it at like their breakfast table. They solved it super fast after it came out. You know, the police have been working on it and all this other
It's
stuff.
an amazing story. And the greatest part is, if you want to thank them for it, you can go right to their fucking house because they gave out their address in the news. This is what the news does. And I've always been, you're a newsman, Tom. I've always been morbidly fascinated with the news because not only do they seem to do always the worst thing, it seems like the choices made by the real news, like the journalists and stuff, is always the worst thing. And obviously a large part of the news is just propaganda and is completely owned and overtaken by intelligence agencies. You know, like if you were to ask somebody, name the greatest journalists ever, they might say like Woodward and Bernstein, as if those weren't intelligence assets and the whole Nixon thing was fake. But anyway, Watergate. Speaking of gates, P-gate, right? So I've always realized, like, the news, even when I was a kid, I was like, this isn't news. The thing that, like I'm not sure anything is news. I'm not sure you need to know any of this stuff. Like, okay, the Pope died this morning. Like, I guess if you're Catholic, that sort of affects you. But is it really something I need to be told? Why do I have to know it? Most things, and then you go, well, maybe local news. But then local news is something like, you know, either a black guy in a bad neighborhood nearby you got shot, and you're like, no doy. Or it's a guy you know. Like, the only time the news could ever be important is like, your dad was shot and killed. And if that happens, you're going to find out without the news. It's going to come up at some point. This information will make its way to you. The news is fake, and then they have to fill it. You know, they don't have enough time to fill it, and so they got to fill it with human interest stories, which are, by the way, the least interesting things ever. I mean, fucking Aaron Imholte and Nick Rekieta end up in the news as a result of stuff like this. These guys, there's very little, I believe, is newsworthy. I think, here's newsworthy. World War III. That's newsworthy, right? But by the time you tell it to me, it probably is too late. So,
well, do you know of any news things that aren't immediately attached to advertising?
What do you mean? I don't understand what you're saying.
I mean, the reason that the news is there is to get the public to watch it.
Oh, yeah. They're all sponsored by Pfizer. I mean, why do you think they pretended COVID was a thing?
By the way, you talked about the phone books. The phone books were free because they were filled with advertisements.
Right.
And so, like, the news that I work for, you really couldn't dox people at this stage of the game, but you would say someone was murdered at a home in the 1400
1400
block, or at a Walmart in the block. Well, how many Walmarts are there in the 1400 block?
Yeah,
of Main
it gets
Street?
the criminal close.
I've done
right?
this.
It gets them handy.
I've done this before. Like the thing about like saying what block they live on blew me. When I was a kid, I saw that. Because when you're a kid, you don't understand what that means. Like, what is the 1400 block? I mean, especially if you don't grow up in a city, you don't know what that means. Like, you know, your address isn't given by block when you grow up in the suburbs. So as a kid, I didn't understand it. I remember asking my parents when seeing this in the newspaper, I was like, what does that mean? The 1400 block. And they explained it to me. You know, I'm a little kid. And then I'm like, what? So they're just telling me where the guy lives? And ever since then,
one of 8 houses.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is ever since then, sometimes I'll be reading a news story and I'll see that and I instantly go to look up the block. And I swear to God, I've seen it before where they're like the 1400 block. And then you go to find it. There's one house in that 1400 block. It's 1401. It turns out.
At the corner of, well, you got 4 choices.
Right.
And when I was a young man many, many years ago, it was, and certainly before that, they would give the exact Bill Johnson of 143 Main Street. I mean, they gave your exact.
Right. They do that still sometimes. They gave the news gave out the address to the parents of a comic book artist who committed suicide last year. There's this guy, Ed Piskor. And he had a well-known YouTube channel where they talked about comic books. And he was a well-established and accomplished comic book artist in his own right. And some idiot liar woman decided to pull a Me Too on him hoax and claimed that he raped her, basically. And it wasn't true. It just straight up wasn't fucking true. It was nothing. And everyone started going after him about it. And the news started hounding him. They were hounding him 2 days before he disappeared. And then a day or two later, he was found. He had like hung himself in the woods or something like that. So the news not only killed the guy, I'm not kidding. The news directly led to this guy's death. Hi, I'm the news. But then they went and hounded his parents after his death. No, sorry. I can't remember if it was after his death or not. They hounded his parents about whether or not they think their son is a rapist. Which, like, this was a 40-something-year-old man. What does his parents have to do with it? Why would you have to ask them anything? Hey, does your son fuck? That's not a question the news should be asking. It's not news, by the way, at all, that some dumb woman felt like years after the fact that she was raped. That's every woman. Every woman thinks that at some point in her life. She's like, I'm pretty sure I did get raped, actually. I'm definitely a victim. And I've been gaslit. I know that much. I definitely had that fake thing from a movie happen to me. So that's basically rape. So they went to his parents' house on the TV news and showed their address on it. And then the dude kills himself. It's insane. Anyway, the news is nuts. The news is absolute garbage. Point of that is we've got a food mystery here. They're delivering pizzas to murdered judges' sons' houses. There's a whole thing. Now, take a listen to this and see if it jogs any memory holes for you.
I was told that
do you know who this judge is?
Second pizza that arrived at this judge's house, he had already received one before. The second pizza that arrived at this judge's house was sent by my son, Daniel Anderl. The name that they used on the pizza was Daniel Anderl, my baby boy.
He wasn't a baby, he was a grown man, but
who we lost on July 19, 2020.
July 19, 2020. Why is that so fun?
Judge Esther Sellas, federal judge.
Whoa! Do not memorialize me this way after my death. Holy shit. What, did you get Ed Piskor's corpse to draw that? Fuck me, man.
District of New Jersey joins me now. I thank you. When I think about the cruelty of this, it's...
All right, so they're intimidating judges by sending pizza orders from dead kids of the dead kid of a judge. All right? Anybody remember this story? What happened in 2020?
It's a COVID thing.
No, Tom. No, it's exactly the same thing that made me acquainted with the news. This is a P-Gate story, and this is why you don't remember correctly. This is related to Epstein. This is the Epstein judge. This is the one. Right. Epstein all of a sudden didn't make it out of the jail. Oops, none of the cameras were on. Oops, the guards were asleep. Oops, all berries. And wouldn't you know it, the judge in the case I think it was before that happened, was this lady. This is the person who was going to judge the Epstein thing. And one night beforehand, in 2020, a FedEx delivery guy, a guy dressed as FedEx, showed up to the door. Her son answered, I guess the husband, and he shot him. And he killed the son. Shot both of them. Didn't shoot the judge, which sounds a lot like a message being sent. You know, like the thing they're reporting on now. This was a hit. This was a somebody higher up saying, you're not judging this one. You sure about that? Oy vey, are you sure? How would you like to talk to the FedEx driver that came all the way here from Israel? You sure? That was maybe one of the longest packages ever sent by a single driver. You had to go all the way from Tel Aviv to New York.
It's actually unbearable. When did you find out about this intimidation tactic? How did you react? What went through your mind?
Do you think they're going to bring it up? Do you think they're going to bring up what actually went down in this, or they're just going to dance around it?
When you got this information?
This is a true food mystery.
You know, I found.
And by the way, remember, Aaron Imholte, you know, he's inviting people. He wants delivery guys coming to his house, bringing coleslaw and stuff. Any one of those could be a sign, a message.
Found out about it on Tuesday night.
They could be there to try to take his DNA and make him do a piss test to see if he's sober.
Last Tuesday night. And we had already known about hundreds of pizzas that have been going out.
Hundreds.
Out to judges all over this country. And
who's sending these pizzas? Who could it be?
And we know the significance and the threat of a pizza arriving at a judge's house.
Really? What is the significance of a pizza?
They didn't order the pizza, so what's the point? The point is someone wants that judge.
And see, this is the other thing, is this is kind of unspoken, but you read between the lines. These are paid for pizzas. That's our move. You know, this is the thing where Dick Masters is like, I don't get it. I thought the point was you don't pay for it. These are paid for. There's a significance to it.
Someone wants those judges to know. I know where you live. Mm-hmm. And then it escalated a few weeks ago, and they started sending pizzas to judges' children's homes. So now we know where you live, and we know where your children live. Well,
really, what does pizza have to do with children?
They're not done yet, because just this week, we now have 6 pizzas that have been delivered to judges and their kids. And the sender on that pizza is my son.
Well, that's very nice. How did he do that from beyond the grave?
My murdered son's name is now being attached, is weaponized, is being used as a weapon.
What we should do is get a psychic in to perform a seance and just make sure that it wasn't your son actually doing this. We might be jumping the gun. Sorry. Probably should have picked a different
weapon against these judicial officers. My beautiful boy that's just right behind.
Wherever he is, she doesn't even know where the painting is. She just set this painting up in that spot for this exact thing. Here's the craziest part. Every angle of this, every aspect of it is a fucking psyop. It's all intelligence. It's all made up. Like her talking about this, her having them interviewing her about this, every fucking angle of it.
Behind me.
My son who was real and existed. At some point, wherever he is.
What does that say to those judges? It says, I know where you live. Mm-hmm. I know where your kids live. Mm-hmm. And do you want to end up like Judge Salas?
Do you want to end up like Jeffrey Epstein.
You want to end up like her son. These are unprecedented attacks on judicial officers. They come in the forms of pizzas being delivered.
Someone says, "Is that painting AI?" Yeah, it might be. It doesn't look like a real painting, does it?
And I know you like double cheese.
Double
Could you
cheese.
listen back to what you just said?
Yeah.
Unprecedented attacks in the form of pizzas.
Yeah, that we might have to clip that. Hang on a second.
End up like her son. These are unprecedented attacks on judicial officers. They come in the forms of pizzas being delivered.
That's a couch gag. We need that at the. I think that's just the right length where we need that at the top of the show. They come in the form of pizzas.
Delivered at 10-something at night. One of my colleagues, 2 cars rolled up after 10:30 in the night, and his family was already sleeping, and these people are sending pizzas at that time in Daniel's name.
Why is she saying pizza? Pizza's the scariest word ever. It is if you know what it is. And it is what it is, but
we have to do something. We have to speak up for justice. We have to speak up for democracy.
What does that have to do with this?
These are attacks, whether it be attacks that come in the form.
What was that video where they're all the different news agencies are saying the exact same thing? Our democracy is under attack.
Of our members of Congress, some of our members of Congress calling for our impeachment because we're doing our jobs. Members of this administration calling us rogue, calling us crazy, leftist, unconstitutional judges, or coming in the forms of these acts of intimidation. These are
they're just acts of free pizza.
Unprecedented times
Hey, listen, this is thanks Judge Esther Salas and everything. This is all great, but in order for us to print this, we're going to have to give your address out. So, Judge Esther Salas of the 1400 block of
really call for us to speak up for the judiciary, to speak up for justice.
Her son's looking like the pot of greed back there.
How are the judges you're hearing from, or those you read about, reacting to these crazy pizza deliveries? And what is law enforcement telling you about?
That might be a clip too. Damn.
That's a clip right there.
Yeah, hang on.
How are the judges you're hearing from, or those you read about, reacting to these crazy pizza deliveries? And what is law enforcement telling you about what they plan to do about it?
I'm being...
Thank you for reading the script.
Being told that it's under investigation. I can tell you that as troubling as it is, the men and women that took an oath and wear the robe will continue to do our jobs because we know that justice requires that we do so.
Oh my God. Is that, I just know, so there's like another photo of him back there too. Is that meant to be his urn behind her head? It's just hitting me. Am I supposed to believe his body is contained within that pot of greed behind her head?
Better be.
Ooh, boy. I'm starting to believe this guy never existed.
But we need our leaders, whether they Republicans, Democrats, Independents, we need our leaders to stand up
to pizza places
for justice, to stand up to these attacks. We need our leaders to be the champions for justice at this
tampons of what is she
this time in our nation. And so we are asking for our leaders to do that, to lead.
Who's we?
And to lead by showing that they support the judiciary, they support the rule of law, and they believe in our democracy above all else.
Of course. And real quick, what was that thing with the Epstein shit? And what did we ever figure out who shot your son, or what happened there?
Yeah, they kind of did, yeah.
What?
The guy that they believe, because they never tried him, he committed suicide the next day.
Yeah! I know you'll be discussing this. And
wait, huh? What? The shooter committed the next day? Yeah. That's crazy. Why would he do that? Why would he do any of those things?
Well, he was.
Let me guess. Oh, did he commit this type of suicide, Tom? Bang, 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 bang.
That's how
Bang,
they always
bang,
go.
bang, 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 bang. I guess I'll just shoot myself in the top of the head 15 times. Bang, 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 bang. He slid, oh my God, he slit his own wrists, and he drank bleach, and he shot himself through the top of the head all the way down his spine, out his butthole. Oh, well.
Well, he spent a number of years in Russia. He gave a speech at the Kremlin. He ended up marrying this sort of Russian bride chick that ran away from him when he came to America. And he was the guy that started suing bars for having ladies' night and stuff. He was a real, well.
Oh my God, wait a second.
Thank you, Tom.
Wait a ticking shithole. Is this the guy that they interviewed on Opie and Anthony?
He's the guy that sued Jim Norton for defamation. As a matter of fact, not only the name of the judge was in his car, but Norton was in his car. The name of Jim Norton and like his
we
contact
can't
information.
escape the Dabbleverse. Holy shit. Not a joke. I knew this and forgot. Again, it was memory hold. I knew this and forgot.
Right.
I learned this like a year ago. The shooter of this baby boy, this big, fat, freaky baby boy, was an Opie and Anthony guy. Okay? Yeah. And he sued Jimald Norton, who... All right, that's enough. You get. They're never going to bring up the Pizzagate stuff. They're never going to bring up Epstein. Fuck. What's the guy's name, Tom?
Roy Den Hollander.
Roy. Is that all one word?
No, it's three words.
Isn't that a magician with a gay tiger or something? Roy what?
Roy Den
Den
Hollander.
Hollander. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Yeah, and
this is crazy.
Would write these huge manifestos denouncing women and female judges
can't do shamanifestos, that's for sure. We might have to go into this we might have to do a pod after show. I wasn't even planning to do a pod after show. We might have to do a pod after show. We're going to get into this on the podcast. I don't have time to look this up right now, but this is big. This is big. The fucking Opie and Anthony ruined everything. Okay? It's 100% true. Here's how we'll wrap up this episode. This was I apologize. I don't remember who found this now. Somebody sent me a message and said, have you seen this? This is from 2020. I was shocked. I was going through Internet Archive and this video came up. And who do I hear but my favorite stream man, Podawful, talking on it. Listen to this. I've never seen this before. This is called We Are Change Exposed 1. You're being controlled by demons. And apparently I'm involved. And apparently, remember Luke Rudkowski? The guy that Revenge of the Sis is trying to cozy up to. They've been on his show twice. We made fun of them on his show. He's got a big nose. And he's friends with Tim Pool. Okay, you've seen him in the Tim Pool Pirate Cove podcast studio before. Apparently, this dude, this crazy person, used me to make fun of Luke Rudkowski back in 2020. We had no idea. Watch this. This is so fun.
Alex Gray. I had to work in a Hot Topic when Tool was popular. And that Alex Gray shit is so fucking cringe, man. And that, of course, it's stoners and druggies who like that. So, oh shit, eyeballs, man, being 15. Oh, my first time doing drugs. Oh shit. Oh my god, a lady's skeletal system.
Oh my god, can I even show this? Jesus Christ.
Is like, kind of looks like it's from India or something. Alex Gray and Tool fucking suck, man. If you're into that kind of, man, what kind of brain do you have to have?
The editor got the right images for sure.
Oh yeah, he found every good one of them. He's got all the Alex Gray paintings, exactly the ones I was talking about too. And then this whole thing I guess is just about
10, 9, 8, 7,
oh my god. What was that?
This is Luke Rudkowski of We Are Change the World, and I'm joined by Allison and Alex Gray, amazing spiritual visionary artists. And we're here at the studio, a very beautiful place here in upstate New York. And before getting into everything,
eyeballs.
Many people use the words consciousness and spirituality. I feel like it's being thrown out all the time. But I also find that it's very personal for each person. Every person has a different meaning and understanding.
This isn't a Tool track playing in the background. It probably is.
Understanding of spirituality and consciousness. So starting off, what's kind of your definition of consciousness and spirituality? What does it mean to you? What is it to you?
Well, consciousness.
This is the guy. This is the guy that draws all that gay shit from Tool. All right, Alex Gray.
Is intangible, but we all know that we're conscious. I look at your eyes and I see that you're aware.
Eyeballs.
You're seeing me, I'm seeing you.
Hell yeah.
We take ourselves to be conscious. When we are unconscious, we're not perceiving anything.
Look at, by the way, did you notice in the background the painting of George Washington smoking weed? Oh my God, man. That is wild. Oh, it is Tool, isn't it? Fuck, I'm gonna get hit for this. I have no idea what any of this is, by the way. I don't understand it. I don't know what's going on. Just to be clear. Find me the Jim Norton, Roy Den Hollander stuff, by the way, and we'll do that in the after show here. Just a second. But I do want to watch this. What the fuck?
Baked Alaska?
Our good friend Baked Alaska?
Yeah.
Shout out. Oh my gosh. And that's the guy that ripped the hat off of Tim Pool.
Tim Pool, yes, it was.
What was this guy's name? Mustache Man?
I do not know.
Something
but
Matt.
he is the guy.
Millennial Matt, I think. Millennial Matt. And he ripped the hat off of Tim Pool, and there he is next to Tim Pool's best friend. And then my best friend, Baked Alaska. This is crazy. This video is nuts. And somehow I'm involved.
Mark Dice. That was Mark Dice on the left.
And just because I think Tool is gay, I'm in this.
Dank dicks? What the fuck?
And the audio they're pulling from is from like 2017, 2018 maybe too. So this guy must be a fan. Shout out to this guy who made this. Yoba. Oh my gosh, look at all these gay guys. Imagine them with eyeballs and weed. What is happening? I don't even know what the point being made is.
An altered state. We've entered.
I think the point of this video is that Luke Rudkowski is a Satanist or something. I think it just means he's a demon.
Fantasy world that we've created in our mind.
Oh, Pandora's beanie. Someone says in chat.
A fantasy world that we've created in our mind.
Oh shit, let me pull up my Alex Gray shit here, man. Oh fuck. Oh man, my brain is fucking losing it right now staring at these trippy designs.
Wow.
Imagine an eyeball with two irises. Oh fuck, man. Oh shit, look, imagine if you could see a guy's veins. That would give you such galaxy brain. Oh damn, eyeballs, but it's also sort of a vagina or something. Oh my god, shit, bro. And he really does do
whoa! What the fuck was that last thing? Holy shit!
Dude, look at this. This is a real eyeballs and weed leaves, and this is a real Alex Gray. I thought this was a joke. I thought this was like a parody of Alex Gray stuff, but he really does do the.
No!
Here's a lady, a naked lady covered in pot leaves.
Is that supposed to, is this like implying that his shirt is meant to be pot leaves here? Because I said that. Why are they zooming in on his shirt?
Contact with primordial energies and a sense of connectedness.
Oh yeah. The all smelling nose.
When I was on a DMT trip, it was pretty much told to me the same way like you described it, which is very weird.
That is, oh my God. That is so funny to say to like a really experienced drug man whose whole life is being, you know, eyeballs and drugs. Like Alex, that's so funny to say to that guy, like, yeah, I did drugs too. Same. Yeah. It's, what you were saying before. Yeah, me too.
When I was on a DMT trip, it was pretty much told to me the same way like you described it, which is very weird.
Yeah, even Alex Gray was like, yeah, sure it was. I talked to machine elves. You didn't speak to my friends. This music is insane.
Oh shit, bro.
Insane.
Oh my god, skulls, dude. This is probably only funny to me. Fine, I get it. If these paintings do not make you laugh, fine. I'll live with that. But I cannot see this stuff and not just start bursting out laughing. It is the stupidest shit I've ever seen. I can't imagine having the brain that makes that sort of thing okay.
This is all just to make fun of this Luke guy. I didn't say anything. I don't know anything about this Luke fella. Other than he looks like Ethan Van Sciver. Oh, Gandhi. Oh, shit. You're blowing my mind. Dude, imagine Gandhi smoking weed. I have no idea what point they're making here. I'm too dumb for this. I guess he's a part of these temples. He's a part of a temple. You know that's bad. What island is this on? Big St. James. Global Temple of Divine Administration. What the? Here's a guy who was incensed. Ugh. Pictures you can smell.
The patchouli.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big drumstick. I don't know. I don't know what any of this is. Oh, famous people. What are we looking at here? Oh, Gandhi's famous? Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you looked that up. That makes sense. That's Wikipedia. Who's famous? Gandhi. All right. Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to disagree with Gauguin. I don't know who that is. That is actually, a lot of these names aren't that famous to me.
He's a painter.
Okay, fuck you.
What happened on that DMT trip? Honestly, so you had an experience of consciousness.
Mm-hmm. I had a out of body experience that ultimately was female voice that came to me after I let go.
Ooh, and then Alex Gray looks at his wife like, oh, female. You know about that, right? Because you are. I also paint titties. So Alex Gray. Anyway, I just thought that was cool. All right, everybody. Thank you. We're going to go into a pod after show now. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to the henchmen for joining me. Thank you, everybody, tuning in live. Join the Pizza Fund, podawful.pizza, and get immediate access to this pod after show. I'm going to start it in like a couple minutes, though, because I wasn't prepared for this one. So give me a few minutes. We'll be over there live. Podawful.pizza. Join the $6 level and get access. And until next time, thank you so much. Steel Toe, take my notes, and have an awful day. Goodbye. Bye, everybody.
Join the Pizza Fund, nigga.
Tom's supposed to say that.
Yeah.
Stealing his thunder.
I sent you video for the Roy Den home.
I don't think Patrick wants Jesse PS smoke. Jesse's a fucking weirdo. Podawful made me do it.